went to Mars, but I imagine that it's intergalactical. Might leave some static. Oh, why can't I see? And I'm barely breathing. Oh, I think I've had it with pieces. I need to get up out the shits and hope that the business. Need you to get off my dick so I can think. It's this feeling again, and I don't know. It's got me hating the world, feeling so low, but they don't understand the grip 'cause it's so strong. Wish I was so low, but I'm here. Anxiety's bitch. Ooh, a new trick. Feeling too chicken, too big, clucking up my juice. But don't get me wrong, 'cause I'm not trying to tie a noose. I'm just flirting with gold, hoping I don't slip into deeper dissociative score. But she's keeping score, still asking for more, and I don't know how much I could give or endorse this feeling again. And I don't know, it's got me hating the world, feeling so low, 'cause they don't understand the grip and it's so strong. Wish I was so low, but I'm here. Anxiety's bitch. Ooh, I know it's trick. Ooh, can they see me running? Hoping to get by without touching base or letting people be there for me in the night. I just really wanna be alone. Cry a little, think it's stone. Or find a healthy way to balance all this hate and anger for the hand that has me about to break. And I don't know, it's got me hating the world, feeling so low, 'cause they don't understand the grip and it's so strong. Wish I was so low, but I'm here. Anxiety's bitch.
Ooh. Kama unaona hii video after the fact, nacheka juu ya comment ya Viva. Viva, so unaweza share hii video alafu call your people to this session. Alafu hiyo itakuwa ni kama umeni bribe nikwambie what the song is called. Lazima uni bribe ndo nikwambie kile nimecheza. I will reveal it uko mwisho. So also if you're watching this baadaye, vile si ufanya, kama una watch hii video na kama unajua hiyo ngoma, kwa comment section iseme before uendelee kuwatch hii video. If you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this now, ni mwana baba umetujoin, this doesn't make sense. So if you're watching this later, or if you're watching later na ujui, ngoja hadi mwisho. If no one ame-mention the song title kwa the comment section yet. Alafu nimembia nani, nilikuwa nafikiria kuambia Viva acheze na Shazam. Shazam ingekusaidia I'm sure. Alafu Viva nakwambianga watch our reviews tafadhali. Watch our reviews, all of them. Hata kama hujasikia muziki, just go watch our reviews, give us views. Mr. Mujera leo ametokelezea in time. Leo ametokelezea vile inafaa. Hajakuja tukimaliza hii shughuli. Kama vile alitupata Friday na the other session last Sunday. So Viva, na onanga our reviews. Hata kama hujasikia the music, make a point. Najua wewe si fan, lakini hizi ngoma mi play they'll come from projects we've listened to, if we enjoyed the projects. And if you watch our reviews, you can go and listen to those projects that tumeongelea, and unaweza sikia tukiongelea some songs huko that we enjoyed, or a project to actually enjoy. Go listen to these projects. Similarly, Babo hapo a few weeks ago, kuna a song I played, akasema what song is that? I had to rant because I've spoken about that artist a million times, lakini Babo ni nani? Viva ni nani? Nisikiangi nikiwaambia wasikize mziki. They just choose to, ignore me. So nitareveal mse nimecheza at the end kama kawaida. Sometimes pia I've done mziki ya wiki for 89 weeks now, so kuna a lot of music. Na si watu wengi at you go through the mziki ya wiki blog posts. So sometimes, rather what I've been doing sometimes, if sina a particular song in mind, naendanga shapata wimbo ameshazam na share songs that nime feature kwa mziki ya wiki. Kana kumbuka last week DMB akitupatia mwanangu Soul Purpose ya Fadhili na Achieng as his recommendation kwa our playlist ya Mother's Day. Nikamwambia interestingly I featured that song on week 2 of mziki ya wiki. So this is in August of 2020. We are almost getting to 2 years of doing mziki ya wiki every week consistently. So kuna a lot of music, a lot of artists najua si watu wengi wanafahamu, na si watu wengi check out hizo blog posts. So ni only right nizicheze hapa kwa hizi sessions. No, Viva West, you stop lying here. We know your means. You have, how many phones do you have? Unaweza kuwa ulichukua hiyo simu yako teketeke ukakaribisha kwa speaker. Ama mwongea na Siri, what song is this young man playing? So now, how many minutes in are we? 7. Karibu kwa another Sanaa kwa Sana Sunday session. Asante kwa kukua hapa. We have an interesting, I presume, an exciting conversation ahead of us on this 15th day of May 2022. It's just 11 p.m. Before that, tufanye a recap. I don't think last week nilifanya a recap nikianza, but hakukuwa na much anyway, or I did the other week, no, nadhani nilisahau. But last week finally to have our conversation kuhusu Black Boy Joy performance showcase the one and only Goofy Dogs, and it happened at the Kenya National Theatre exactly 2 weeks ago. Hiyo ilikuwa on Labor Day 1st May 2022. Viva alitujoin alafu akapass out, akutuambia sentiments zake kuhusu hiyo show, na tulikuwa tunamtegemea pia, but Viva ni nani mara ingine. Akamka tukimaliza akatupea recommendations, paka yake ilikuwa imetype comments on her behalf. The struggles za watu kujoin hizi live, we appreciate the struggle, we acknowledge the struggle, haipiti tu. We talked about the show, watu wakashare their experiences, their sentiments kuihusu, discuss a number of perspectives. So iwapo uko interested in that, check out our Black Boy Joy discussion that happened last week, a week after the show. As I said, kwa hiyo live ilikuwa happen on the 1st, but nilifanya that live on a Monday, so the 2nd, but at 2 a.m. hakuna mtu alitokelezea, nikabaki hapa peke yangu, have rain check for the following week. After that, hii wiki imekuwa wiki ya kumaliza kuupload half of the reviews that we had done over that weekend of your show ya Goofy. In fact, because we record on Friday and Saturday back to back. So nimekuwa edit na kuupload those reviews. Nimeanza edit, then mostly imekuwa just uploading them. And so hii wiki nimeshare reviews 5. If you are a subscriber pale kwenye channel, maybe umeona notifications, vile nimesema nimeadvise viewer watch hizo reviews. Ndio tukicheza mangoma hapa usianze hiyo ni ngoma gani, ni nani. Watch those reviews and make a point ya kwenda kusikiza hizo albums na EPs that tumereview. Tafadhali. We are also past 500 subscribers, tuko at 507. As of now tunaelekea to the 1k mark, na niliwaambia last week hapa kina DMB itabaki tu mmechukua mafoni za watu, mnaenda pale YouTube na subscribe bila kujua. That is the way, that is the secret. And those reviews that nimeshare hii wiki include Savage Level ya Savara. Finally, after recording that review twice, finally ilitoka way months later after itoke, but we had to redo the review. We also did, who was the second? Bendi Huru's Manjano, hiyo pia tuli redo. We also did Unganisha, their EP inaitwa Kucheza, their debut EP. Ya Bendi Huru pia ni their debut album. Savara pia ni debut album yake. Then after Unganisha's Kucheza, kuna Ngewa ya Kasiva, Mutua debut EP yake. Then the last one, Trabuli na Akili Black, album yao Maliza Roho. This is their, is it fourth? Yes, their fourth project together. Trabuli ni mtu prolific sana. Don't play with Trabuli's name and Akili Black's name. Prolific duo. So those 5 reviews are out. Ukipata time, ukipata nafasi, check them out. Ukipata even time after, skiza the music. Na ukuje kwa comment section utuambie pia what you thought kuhusu the music. I was just reading a comment on Maliza Roho, your review by someone. Comment yake ni very comprehensive, imenibamba sana sana. And perhaps tunaweza anza na your energy. Now I'll read this kwa our next review, whenever that shall be, or the next video on Sanaa kwa Sana. So if you watch the other batch of the reviews that zinatoka kuanzia Tuesday, so I have 5 more to go. Kuna comments that we will be reading kwa hizo videos from the most recent videos that tulikuwa tumefanya before to record hizo reviews. So I have 5 more dropping this coming week from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So look forward to those 5 reviews zinazokuja. We are still putting in the work, and part of this comment yenye naongelea kumaliza roho imeongelea the work that we are doing. Amesema all in all, a review imeonyesha how you guys mko devoted to really listening and kaguaring Kenyan music. That's a beautiful thing to hear from people when you wanna watch our reviews na wana interact na sisi. I love that a lot. I've also said I enjoy that from artists who watch our review sana. Ka ukiona review yetu ya Savage Level, kuna comment we read from Sero. That was also beautiful. Ali watch our review, aka comment. Such a comprehensive and personal comment that I loved. So now, today tuko hapa for an exciting discussion, an exciting conversation. Is there anything that nimehata apart from mimi kuringia Viva, lakini asha find out the song that nimeplay. Alisema najua unaniringia ni sawa tu, ni bora nimefurahi because of the song that I played. Babo, karibu sana. What are reviews for your entertainment? The things that we say, the things that Erykah and Roger say. Mi ni mse mzuri. Mi semangi vitu kaa Sanaa kwa Sana ndio ndio standard. Na vile lazima umeka project that tutatii. Mi semangi vitu kama hivyo. Hizo ni sentiments za watu wengine. DMB ametuambia amekuwa hooked to hizi sessions zetu, so ati just one, you don't Viva, I know you like that. Thank you Babu, naona the I have checked out Maliza Roho. No pressure. Najua you watch those videos Babu, we provide you with podcast content kwa background. DMB anasema Trani Beast, kwanza kuna albamu zake nadai kupata juu nimezi hata mbaya sana. So kuna for Trabulia kuna huge catalog. Now before we get into our discussion, Old Roads iko on streaming platforms, unaweza iwai. Then Telos iko on streaming platforms too. Kuna an EP they did after Telos. Maliza Roho, the EP is as well, but I think iko on SoundCloud and YouTube too. Then after that kulikuwa na Sadfa iko on YouTube too. Zote ziko on the videos, all of them ziko kwa YouTube. Then now you have Maliza Roho the album, hiyo pia. Kuna few videos on YouTube. Kuna time tunaongelea promotion strategies za wasanii, tukasema how Trabuli na Quelle Black how release videos for their projects, and set videos 2 ama 3 they go the way kutoa creative videos. For Sadfa they did that. Then for I think Sadfa ilikuwa na 4 or 5 videos out. For Maliza Roho the album they've also done the same. Kuna a few videos for your project, but for the entire album haiko kwa streaming platforms apart from Bandcamp. And the idea ni streaming platforms hazina pesa vile inafaa. I do think later Trabulia neza ieka kwa streaming sites, but for now iko strictly on Bandcamp. You have to pay for those bars. Ulipe your $12 upate album na usikize kazi ya Tra na Quelle Black. Babu anasema your laughter is the worst part of those reviews. Wow, I am hurt. I am hurt na hiyo comment. Okay. DMB anasema kuna siku Erykah alicomment kuhusu Silverstone Bars nikaogopa. I think I remember DMB akiniambia story ya Silverstone Bars. Hiyo ni EP yake Don't Bother ya last year. Was it in June? Did it drop in June or September? Around I think September. Tulifanya pamoja na STL, pamoja na Naomi Washira who had dropped in July. Ogopa watu, ogopa Erykah, ogopa Roger, ogopa Abe mwenye na these 2 cooperations on record. Ogope. I'm out here trying to get endorsements from corporations, alafu Abe comes through and just says things. So tulikuwa live and ni beautiful kuona this happening again. Ili happen on our live on Friday. Na hizi moments, we've had a lot of these moments. Nilikuwa huko na DMB alikam tukimaliza, nilikuwa na Babo, nilikuwa na Viva, and they are the ones here. So if you stayed till the end, Babo alitupatia suggestion, and so I thought the suggestion was for that particular live on Friday tuki freestyle, but then again ikani hit maybe na refer to our Sunday Sanaa kwa Sanaa discussion. So I asked na Babo akasema yes on Sunday. Ndio tulikuwa tumeongea vitu mob kwa hiyo live. DMB juko ulimaliza Highway to Hell Freestyle Friday session. Our best one yet. So much fun. My hell buddies. So the suggestion from Babu, our discussion for this live session, as you can see from the title, whether you're here now or watching later, ni discuss Kendrick's new album. Kendrick Lamar, the hip hop artist, TDE's own, PG Lang's own, Aftermath's own, Interscope's own, drop his 5th studio album. This came out 2 days ago on 13th, Friday the 13th of May 2022. Again, I'll try. Triskadephobia. The fear of Friday the 13th, Friday and 13th. So, that happened. Fans wa Kendrick walikuwa wamengoja hii album for long. Eventually the announcement ilikuwa made and we have the album with us. Babu came through for the live. I do think alikuwa ameisikiza already. Juu alisema to discuss, then akasema akona a lot of thoughts to share, a lot of things to say kuihusu. Sikuwa nimeisikia bado. Kama ingetoka ni venye to them our Friday until 7-8 hours, so until 7 or 8 a.m. ndio hour nafika Friday. So if ingekuwa same time zone, ningeisikia immediately ilifika midnight or around 1 a.m. ningeisikia vile ilitoka at the time. So that dropped after a series of exciting promotion. Kendrick amepotea for some time. Now we have the album. For a lot of people ni almost unbelievable. Kuna watu pia bado wako wanaamini inatoka. They had to see it to believe it. So before niendelee kuongelea the lead up to the album, as we get deeper into the album, tunaweza anza na a few aspects of the same. Viva, DMB na Babu. You can pick any part of the question na share sentiments zako. The first would be kama ulikuwa excited for the new Kendrick Lamar album. That would be one. The second would be what were your notions before the album drop. Notions zako ikikuja kwa notions and expectations, ikikuja kwa what you thought the album would be about, what you thought the themes would be, what ulidhani the sound itakuwa, anything kuhusu the album before itoke. The third could be the theories and expectations from other people that ulikuwa umekama across. Juu alitoa the artwork a few days before 13th, so maybe that ili spark newer thoughts kuhusu what the album would be about and how it sound. So hiyo inaweza kuwa another aspect unaweza share kuhusu. Feel free. And then now to get into what you think kuhusu the album, what you feel kuhusu the album, any thought uko nayo kuhusu the album, go with it. But kwanza, before to get deeper kwa what is the now na what una feel ama unafikiria kuhusu, thoughts uko nazo, your sentiments, tuanze na before the album. DMBs jiko umesikia bado, huko umesikia on Friday, sikosha huko umesikia yet. Hata kama hujaisikia unaweza tuambia tu kuhusu the other aspects that nimetaja. Kama ulikuwa na look forward to it, if you're excited kuhusu, then unaweza tuambia what the cover imefanya ufikirie, what you think the album would be. This is kama hujaisikiza yet. So my good people, take it away. Type those thoughts. Type your thoughts. Thoughts on thoughts on thoughts. That is, okay, Babu wants to join the live. Allow me when you can. Sawa. Sawa. We shall get to that basi when we start digging into our sentiments kuihusu. I'll definitely do that. 23, the aligning continues every other time. Viva anasema I wasn't necessarily excited, nilikuwa tu because I listen to these things when the hype dies down. The hype comes with a lot of pressure, so for me I keep off. I agree with your sentiments. Mi pia nilikuwa na hiyo thought ama na hiyo feeling. I couldn't have listened to it a large part juu nilikuwa pia na hiyo thought that whenever things are fresh, kuna a lot of hype, a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion surrounding works of art, that it makes it hard for you to consume the work without hizo external influences, external thoughts na ideas, because a lot of people wanna discuss, and ni hard pia ku avoid juu if you get to online spaces utaona those conversations. So whenever I saw anything Kendrick before nisikize, nilikuwa just so Kendrick, nilikuwa najaribu sana kuscroll past it ndio in any ways influence my my thoughts in any way na my experience ya kusikiza. Pia on YouTube, one, I follow a lot of music reviewers, then once that is what you watch utapata recommendations around the same area, so you just see a lot of things. Kendrick's new album, unaona a thumbnail or a title, ama ukienda kwa comment section, because I also follow music channels, so kuna, if you watch a channel and uko kwa alive, or if they have a video, kwa comments people are talking about the Kendrick album. So kuna so much happening online spaces, Facebook and Twitter especially, that is happening, and even on Instagram wasa wakiongelea. If you follow such accounts, you can see the caption briefly, then you can see maybe the first or so comments. Nimekuwa niki avoid noise ni influence, and it happens with works of art when they are just released. In a way, ni hard ku consume in a way that isn't blemished, na ni wewe tu interacting with the work, and it comes with the internet age sana. So I do feel Viva on that. Sijui if na najua Irauka na kuanga hivyo pia, na ameitaja mara nyingi on a number of reviews. tukifanya sadfa ya Traboli akukua, he wanted to be there but akukua, but alisema yeye hata before skizange tra, na pia alisema when we had our discussion at Traboli kuhusu All Roads Lead Home anniversary ya 7, it dropped in 2015, alisema the same thing, that whenever tra drops, na pia I think alisema pia kwa sadfa, that whenever na atuko sadfa kwa maliza roho, whenever Traboli drops akuangi ready kusikiza, yo ipea time kwanza before get kusikiza a new project by Traboli, akuangi mentally ready. So ni hii idea ya when things come out, something that also Erykah anasemanga, do people know that you don't have to listen to something when imetoka? The work of art ina exist, unaweza sikia anytime, so you don't have to jump on the bandwagon just because. Najua pia mostly people want in on the conversation, people don't want to miss out on the conversation. People also think their opinions matter and people should hear what they think about things, so they also want to share their opinions, watu waone kile wanasema, whether good, but mostly when contrary to what the sort of consensus looks like. Nakumbuka time, I think I've referred to this tukiongelea album consumption, something that we've talked about a number of times here, there's a sort of quickness that comes with it. So when that happens, coupled na vitu nimeongelea, people want to be in on hizi discussions na wanataka jua kile nafikiria, sana sana kandi contrarian. So ili happen time ya Midnight Train. The album just dropped in June. I think ilikuwa early June. Then I don't even know how many hours after the album imedrop, kuna a tweet I came across. I don't think ilikuwa nimeisikia yet, and I think actually that could have been my first public video review. Juu ilikuwa nifanye review ya Midnight Train. I think ilikuwa nifanye as a live on Instagram. I don't think ilikuwa nianza kufanya lives then. Not yet. Ingekuwa ya kwanza. So naona hii tweet umse anasema amesikiza the new Sauti Sol album, and honestly ilikuwa longer than I summarize. I give this a 3 out of 10. I even shared that on my personal account, and nikakuwa na a few conversations na watu walikuwa wameisikiza. I don't think even with a one listen inakuanga enough to completely digest an album, but you're to the point where you are giving it a rank of rip and unaishare confidently. Sometimes music is very subjective, such a subjective art form. Lakini kuna particular things, if you are critiquing a piece of art, and if we are to have a number of categories to help us do our criticism, I don't think even your average can come to a 3 for that particular album. If we are to look at tuongele kutoka production, if we are to look at concept, if you are to look at songwriting, if you are to look at the lyricism, delivery, execution, all of these things, if you are to come up with a criteria for observing, reviewing, examining the album, I don't even think your average it'll come to that. Which may remind, nimeongelea Savara, one of the reviews that zinakuja next week ni ya Chimano. That should be dropping on Tuesday. EP yake debut, Heavy is the Crown. Then after that, we are supposed to do a video where we are talking about all the 4 solo projects at once. Look forward to that conversation. It should be an interesting one. So with that hurry, uta come across a lot of comments, nyingi sana, and everyone wants to speak and say something kuihusu. Inakuanga ngumu sana kwenda ka uko blemished if you're listening to something or watching a series for the first time or reading a book where it's just you and this piece of art and nothing in between, unless your preconceived notions outside of what people say, but just your internalized biases. DMB alisema first of all nilipenda hiyo cover. Babu alisema I didn't think I'd listen to the album. I found the cover art amazing. Then I listened because he fumbled. Now I had to get into his sentiments. Viva pia amesema the cover gave me an idea of what to expect in it though. DMB amesema mimi nimekuwa among the many wenye wamekuwa kimoja project ya Kendrick. I was so disappointed I could drop last year. People have been waiting on Kendrick for a while. So before Kendrick had dropped the cover, alikuwa ameshare a photo on the website, na alikuwa amekaa alafu ameshikilia 2 discs, Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers. Inatoka jua, so this is a double disc from Kendrick Lamar. Kulikuwa na theories kuhusu the same. Sijui if uko aware of this information. So siko sure if you came across the photo But had you come across any expectations outside of the cover and outside of what you had expected from the same? Babu amesema hangeisikia, hakudhani angeisikia. Viva pia amesema juu story ya pressure, you take time off. DMB ndio mwenye alikuwa among the people mwenye kanangoja a K dot project. And also what did, kama ulisikia any theories kuhusu the artwork unaweza share as well. I saw a few theories on the artwork. I saw a few theories on the title, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I saw a few theories on hiyo photo nimewambia yenye alikuwa amekaa na ameshikilia two discs. So niliona a number of theories kuihusu. DMB anasema though it's amazing kila member wa Sauti Sol anaweza stand alone. Though it's amazing kila member wa Sauti Sol anaweza stand alone. Yeah, we'll discuss those projects all together. 3 reviews are out, but the last one already uploaded, should be dropping on Tuesday. So the year is 2021. Kendrick amekuwa missing in quotes, amekuwa silent, watu hawajasikia from Mr. Kendrick. Then a website appears, okaylama.com, and kwa the website kuna a folder, a yellow folder, and the yellow folder is titled New Thoughts, and this breaks the internet. Completely. So Babu didn't see your photo nasema ya Kendrick with the 2 discs, lakini amesema the theories made me laugh so hard. So I think anaongelea the album artwork. Babu, tuongee kuhusu hizo theories ama unangoja kuzishare nikikuita hapa? So Kendrick ameshare, I think on Instagram yake, and then on the website too. TDE ilikuwa imeshare pia on their page. Sijui ka PG lang ilishare, but it takes the internet by storm. So finally Kendrick ameongea, people on YouTube are making videos about it, websites are talking about it. Watu wako so excited kuhusu Kendrick Lamar kutokea mara ingine. So this is in, I think ilikuwa August 2021. And interestingly, so I visited this website a few days ago. Sikuwa nimenotice before. So when I did, I don't know how, but nili hover over the folders, and then unintentionally the folder moved. So ni literally kama a desktop. Nika a desktop, and you can move these folders easily around. I thought that was such a beautiful idea for a website. Unaweza zimove uzipatie display yako vile unataka. I thought that's so cool. Baba amesema kijoin atashare, that's okay. Viva says I didn't know there'd be 2. So pia yako na hiyo photo. Me, I was blank to be honest. I got to Spotify and found 18 songs. Nikashangaa, nikatafuta information right after. Unajua ni venye tu move follow a lot of music channels. So sijui if this will be visible, but if you see this New Thoughts, as you can see that folder that ya yellow, ukigusa unaweza move around. Unaona chei, so cool. Uweke place unataka. This black one above, you can do the same na ulete kwenye unataka. You can this is the album. Unaweza, you can move these things. Then kuna hii moja huku hivi kando with the gray, you can also bring it here and move them around. I thought that was cool sana nikaki desktop. Okay, Lamar. So New Thoughts ilitoka in August 20th 28th 2021. DMB anasema I swear milijua hiyo album itaitwa New Thoughts. Now the picture with the folder would be the album cover. I would use that as an album cover. Juu ya it's minimalist. So Kendrick alisema I spend most of my days with fleeting thoughts, writing, listening, and collecting old beach cruisers. The morning rides keep me on a hill of silence. Interesting. On the album kuna a song called Silence Hill. I'm also coming up in the theories sasa na tuna break down and tuna find ties. I go months without a phone. Love, loss, and grief have disturbed my comfort zone, but the glimmers of God speak through my music and family. While the world around me revolves, I reflect on what matters the most, the life in which my words will land next. As I produce my final TDE album, I feel joy to have been a part of such a cultural imprint after 17 years. I think I had watched an interview King Crooked na Punch wa TDE, and ndio Punch hata alisema ndio ikanihit. Punch alisema that walikuwa discuss hiyo story ya Kendrick kutoka TDE na this I think kutoka TDE, na Punch akasema that wamekana Kendrick for 17 years, Kendrick akiwa a teenager as K. akijita K. And ndio inakuhit, and even with this that he's been there for almost 20 years and how career yake imekuwa refu, literally more than half his life, because maybe that was 15 I think, or somewhere around your age, in 2005 akisign contract na deal na TDE up until 2022. It's been very, very many years. So after 17 years, the struggles, the success, and most importantly, the brotherhood. May the Most High continue to use Top Dog as a vessel for candid creators as I continue to pursue my life's calling. There is beauty in completion and always faith in the unknown. Thank you for keeping me in your thoughts. I've prayed for you all. See you soon enough. Okay, Lamar, Lamar, as people say. So you look at New Thoughts, and then no, the black one is recent. The grey one followed. The grey one sasa ilikuwa on 18th for immediate release. So hiyo walikuwa naongelea the new album is dropping. From the desk of OK Lama for immediate release. The following statement was released today on April 18th, 2022 through his company PG Lang at 11 a.m. PT in Los Angeles, California. Album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, release date 13th May 2022. And kuna references announcement to Michael Jackson. I also saw Miles Davis, and Kendrick kukuwa na hizi inferences and a sort of an intertextuality kwa music yake, and that's one thing that I enjoy about how he goes about craft. There was 3, let me see if I can what's culture, if I can find the other one. So hiyo ilikuwa on 18th April, then wasoko na okay, the title imetoka, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So excitement inapanda, and this is the last time alitoa anything ilikuwa August 2021. Then I think kulikuwa na reviews kulikuwa na those songs na Kuzo Wake, Baby Kim, Range Brothers na what's the other one, Range Brothers na what's the other song na this cousin of his, Family Ties. So there is one, Michael Jordan, and I wanted to say Michael Jordan, not Michael Jackson, and then I changed my mind. Sijui kwa nini. So hizo press releases. So PG Lang kuna from Kendrick Lamar. This is how it looks like. Is it even visible? That's how the thing looks like. And then this is from Michael Jordan. That's his. And then the last one is from Miles Davis. So this is a page that I follow called What's Culture. So Kendrick Lamar's recent album announcement draws inspiration from Michael Jordan's infamous "I'm Back" Facts from 1995, and a little less direct, because mostly ilikuwa MJ, Miles Davis's Beaches Brew memo from 1969. Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, wrote a couple versions of a news release and gave them to Jordan for his consideration. He didn't like the feel of them, Falk said. He said, "I'll do it myself." So Jordan grabbed a piece of paper and wrote the two words that captured everything he wanted to say, "I'm back." So you're on MJ's return. Then when Miles was recording his album, his record producer, Tio Macero, sent the memo to executives at Columbia Records. The name remained unchanged, and the album is considered to be one of Davis's most influential and critically acclaimed studio albums ever. Perhaps the announcement is a subtle way of Kendrick putting his name next to the greats. Yeah, that was written by Goose_Owen. Yeah, so 19. So yeah, MJ, the same for immediate release, contact David B. Falk. The logo huko juu, Falk Associates Management Enterprises, Washington DC, March 18th, 1995. The following statement was released today by Michael Jordan. Tumeona from Kendrick, the following statement was released today by OK Lama. And this is through his personal attorney and business manager, and through PG Lang. And yeah, where business manager located in Washington DC in response to questions about his future career plans. Then hapo chini akaandika tu "I'm back." Very simple. "I'm back" the last two sentences here below. Not visible, but yes, I'm back after all of that. So yeah, Miles Davis ilikuwa tu memo, CBS memo, Teo Macero to John Berg, Joe Agresti and Phyllis Mason, November 14th, 1969. Niaje Eddie, Miles just called and said he wants this album to be titled Beaches Brew. Please advise. So hiyo ni kuangalia history of where this is coming from. So that was on 18th April, and then on May 3rd, I don't know if it's on his... No, iko huku kuna tu hiyo new thoughts and the announcement and the artwork. So this is the photo kwa the black folder that you might have seen. This is Mr. Morale and the big upper chin. Kuna comments hapo, so anyway, you'll have to struggle with me. The two CDs hapa, kuna kitabu pia. I don't know what happens to the book. Kulikuwa na book. And then this is Kendrick ameshikilia na kuna carpet huko nyuma. So this is Mr. Morale, big steppers hapo chini. So and the book pia ni hivyo, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar. I don't know what is there kwa hicho kitabu. Kuna theories too. So hiyo ndo photo wasa wakajua it's a double disc. And kulikuwa na discussions surrounding the same. Hizo ni master copies za the projects. That was on May 3rd, 2022, 10 days before the release, and finally I dropped the album. The last folder ni cover ya hiyo kazi, and we have the music. So the promotion is also non-promotion, but it's also promotion. And Kendrick is one person mwenye anaweza ishia na apote na akae kwenye yuko, but something as simple as new thoughts kwa website inasimamisha the internet, because he is Kendrick Lamar and he can do that, and he takes time with his crafting. Nilikuwa nisema on Friday, now as you get to the work, that people have been saying amekuwa away for 5 years, which is true, since Ali dropped his last full-length project, Damn, in 2017. But prior to that, hata before tukuja live nimefikiria, so this is his 5th studio album. Kulikuwa na Section 80 in 2011. In 2012, kulikuwa na Good Kid, Mad City. In 3 years later, 2015, To Pimp a Butterfly. Then in tukiangalia albums peke yake, after 2015, 2017, Damn, and then now 2022, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. But between TPAB na Damn kulikuwa na Untitled and Mastered a year after TPAB it dropped hizo tracks zile zilibaki. So amekuwa ki-release vitu, and then even kulikuwa na the Black Panther soundtrack ile walifanya as TDE. Then amekuwa na features, then he came through kwa Range Brothers vile nimesema na Family Ties. So amekuwa, but for a solo, yes, ame take some time, which he does in between. Ama it takes time generally na craft yake. Then pia kitu ilifanya watu wajue zinakuja, whenever Kendrick is dropping an album, yuko na the Heart series going. So the Heart 1, the Heart Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, they always precede his album releases na hazikuangi kwa the albums. So the Heart Part 5 ili drop. Yo, nakumbuka, how did I don't know how I knew about it, but nika before I listened to the album. Also Babo na Viva DMB umesikia, siko sure Eddie kama umesikia pia. What did you feel before playing the album, and then how did you feel now experiencing the album? For Babo anatujoin in a few, so najua ata reserve comments zake atuambie. Eddie, DMB, Viva, ulifilaje just before playing the album and while listening to the album? Ningependa sana kujua, then to get into our sentiments now after kuisikiza. So please share kwa comment section, then to get deeper into our sentiments kuhusu Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Before nisikize the Heart Part 5, and you're watching uko kwa channel ya Kendrick na unaona really something new, it's there, kuna a particular feeling, ni disbelief, and then ni this is really happening. I'm about to watch a new creation by Kendrick Lamar after a while. For me, you know, feeling nilikuwa nayo, just breathing kwanza, taking some time before I even press play. And nimekumbuka kile nilikuwa nasema when kuna music review channels or music channels and people are talking about something na watu kucomment kuizuhusu, ilikuwa Dead and Hip Hop, whom I've also watched before nikuja live. Walikuwa na alive on their initial reaction kuhusu the album. Nilikuwa na watch live yao wakiongelea the Heart Part 5 their reaction and their review of the same, na kwa comments also walikuwa wanaanza kuongelea hizo stories za the album, the theories na vitu kaa hivyo. And listening to the heart ilikuwa moment ya kutake some time kwanza before even press play. And so for the members wa Dead and Hip Hop wakidiscuss different experiences za how walikuwa naisikiza, one of the Mike alikuwa anasema yeye alikuwa naiplay think kwa gari yake akidrive. The other person alikuwa na watch but akuwa too keen on sura ya Kendrick. So kuna hizo different experiences za watu wakisikiza. I've shared this before here. Time pia tuliongelea MWE tulidiscuss cause tulikuwa na discuss how we listen to albums nikiwa na Abe na Babo. My way of experiencing a work of art for the first time, music, sana inakuanga I want it to be the only thing I'm doing. When it's my first time, I will try as much as possible. Though pia nilisema this year nimekuwa nikijaribu kusikiza vitu under different circumstances. Inaweza kuwa maybe I am working, then I'll just put on an album, or I want to prepare a meal, I'd play it, or kama nafua. So hizo menial tasks I will have some music playing. If najua ni lyrical content that requires me to listen, I might not play such an album. Nitaisikiza some other time when sina kitu yenye nafanya that involves my mental faculties. That happens for lyrical content. If ni some jazz, if ni some chill music, acoustic music, inaweza kuwa easy to listen to. Lo-fi na chill hop, easy to listen to. Most of them hazinanga vocals. But kama ni music iko na vocals, I want to hear and indulge na nisikize the words, so mood take your time na nikae nayo ni indulge. So that was the same thing with the heart. Nilikaa, sat there na my phone, took some time, pressed play, and I am watching this video and nasikia the instrumentation, nasikia the intro Kendrick akiongea before anze kuspaz, and then he starts rapping, flow patterns, getting in and out of pockets, and then kuna hiyo moment that comes where kuna the first face change, and ajambia wait, what the fuck? So OJ Simpson ako hapo na rap kuongelea idea ya blackness, and then kiasi Kendrick does that action again, and ni Kanye West. I don't know if I paused. I actually think I did. And then also, whenever nasikia kitu for the first time, I rarely pause. Inakuanga let's just go. I think I paused. Or if I didn't, kwa mind yangu nilikuwa najiambia, only Kendrick Lamar can do this. And I think I even commented kwa your video, and I said, this is the greatest artist of his generation and one of the greatest ever. Yo, that video was an experience. And nikiona hata comments za watu, and then video nimesema Dead and Hip Hop, one of the guys alikuwa anasema Kendrick aliwapatia time. Kendrick aliwapatia time mkacheza. Now amerudia na show how things are supposed to be done, and how he phrases his messaging, how he delivers, how he then executes it together with the video. It was only right that alifanya hivyo, and that was mind blowing. And nakumbuka nikiona a post on Facebook sakisema those fake deeps on Kendrick's video are a sign of what's to come. So at first kwa fake deep, so kwa mind yangu nilikuwa na confuse na kuna hii term, what's the term, is it fake tip? Kuna two terms nilikuwa na confuse when I saw that, so nilikuwa shanga, okay, so there's something new from, I think that's when nilijua kuna something new from Kendrick. So then after watching the video, then I think I googled nikakumbuka, yeah, this is the technology that they're using. So nikakumbuka I have encountered that technology before. Encounter kwa a comedy channel. I think I did so in 2020 or 2021. Kuna comedy channel called Love Planet, walikuwa wametumia hiyo technology on comedians faces. That was trippy. I don't think nilikuwa naijua before that. So then it came full circle. I remember I have experienced this term before, but nilikuwa nimesahau kuihusu. But that was magical, and tying in those individuals kwa the video into kile alikuwa na rap about. And as usual, the heart ilikuwa na set precedence for the album, and that sort of kama ni introspection or sharing different perspectives. Edi pia kama umesikia the album, tuambie your thoughts kuihusu. Now that we are getting into this, let us know what you thought or felt kuhusu the album before nikaribishe Babu na tusikie maoni yake. I think this is from DMB, The Heart Part 5, ili set tone ya kusikiza album yenyewe. Then time nilikaa chini kusikiza the album, that was way later on Friday night or Friday morning. Kila track ikiplay ilikuwa inanibeba tu. Nisikiza nitwaje? This evening ilikuwa nilikuwa nimesema nisikiza on Saturday morning. I didn't get a chance to. Then nilikuwa nisikize this morning. Nisema morning namaanisha 2, 3, 4 am, 5 am. So this morning I listened, ilikuwa nisikize 2 albums. By the time I was getting to starting the fast, nilijua itakuwa the only one I listened to. So kuna another artist who's dropped an album too on that same day. Hiyo pia nilikuwa naingoja. Anaitwa Quelle Chris. Alidrop album yake called Deathfame on Friday too. So nilisikiza in the morning around for something hadi maybe 5:20 hapo. Then ya Kendrick nimesikia jioni. So far nimesikiza Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers mara moja. Viva anasema, I was curious before I listened to it, then I did. I made sure the lyrics were on, ndio kitu isinipite. I listened to the whole thing twice, but bado na feel ni kama kuna vitu nafaa kusikiza tena vizuri. So time tulikuwa naongelea lyricism in songwriting, layered lyricism. Nakumbuka we discussed story ya lyricism. I don't know if I know Kafura, who was supposed to be part of this conversation. Yeye akwangi mtu wa kusoma lyrics akisikiza albums. Babu alituambia they have to read the lyrics. Viva amesema alisikiza ndo asipitwe. Mimi nakwanga, if I am reading lyrics itakuwa way later. Though pia kwa my idea kusikiza music differently this time, sometimes huwa, especially for our reviews, my final listens before to review a project, I'll check the lyrics just in case ama kuona vitu that siku catch necessarily. So there is that too. Also the thing na mimi with kuangalia lyrics inakuwa kama inakupatia an overview, because you are reading the lyrics as one piece. So there's a way you can use your vision kuangalia the whole thing as one. I love that about kuangalia lyrics. Ni kama reading poetry or reading a short story. So vitu kama hizo kuwa pia interesting to me, and inasaidianga ku understand the work na kustudy deeply kazi yenye nasikiza. Eddie aina noma. If I was Eddie, sijui kama I'd be here. Which is also something that Muku are cautious about. If an album imedrop that I am planning on listening to, sionangi reviews za hiyo kazi until nisikize. Juu sasa June again vile nimesema, between you and the body of work, mimi hujaribu kupunguza external influences as much as I can. So iko tu mimi na my preconceived notions na my biases ndo zita influence vile nasikiza hii kazi. So that sometimes I would also pia najua nimefika a point where maybe kitambo not so much, but nimefika a point where naweza sikiza watu wakiongelea kitu na haitani athiri ama itaniathiri sana nikiget into the project, but most of the time wana prefer ku maintain hiyo distance, nikae ngoja kwanza hata usiniambie vile iko. Yes Babu, yeah, I this is exactly what I remember nikisema just being neurodivergent and how important it is to you kustudy, kusoma the lyrics. Inakwanga unaweza usiniambie vile uli experience hiyo ngoma, keep those sentiments to yourself. Acha nisikize acha nisikize kwanza, then tunaweza have your conversation. Eddie amesema I get you, amesema true. So before that amesema to be honest I have not given it enough, or before that actually kulikuwa na I realized Larry's perspective from Kendrick, an artist bravely full in his element. Na hiyo idea ya I am period all of us, na insisting on perspective kwa the heart and executing on the same. Then Eddie amesema to be honest I have not given it enough time, I plan to do it next week, I'm so much on the move now, that's why I'm curiously here. Viva says mimi kizungu sio ya Afrika, mimi kizungu sio ya Afrika unipita kama upepo. Hiyo tu ndio reason ya kusoma lyrics. That's me, and I believe most of us when we got into, I think even hip-hop sana, but I even think R&B songs because of how they deliver and accents zao. The way sisi tumesikia that same language ni different from how they speak that language. Similarly, najua watu wengi, and even me for the first time, ilikuwa an issue, wameshindwa kuget into UK rap and UK hip hop. Hiyo ni accent completely tofauti. So the first time nilikuwa nasikiza UK rap na hip hop, hiyo accent ilikuwa inanisumbua, but once I got past that, ilikuwa easy kuisikiza. And so by the time nilikuwa nasikia Dave, who amekuwa very popular, nilikuwa nishasikiza other UK rappers before Dave, so that was something that ilinisaidia. But najua vile au uongea the language, vile si tumeisikia, vile si tumeexperience in our geographical context, hizo ni vitu different, so ina affect vile tunaiunderstand. Na nilikuwa naisema na perspective ya hip hop too. I don't know if it happens to you, but huwa na feel pia sana huku hivi, that's one thing that imenifanya nika feel kuconnect kwa live performances. Na nikisema connect, si emotional connection, rather connection ya kusikiza kile wanasema when singers sing in English here, live stage, live performances. Sijui you've experienced that, but nimekuwa kwa shows nyingi sana, and najiambia anasema sometimes pia kuna hiyo concept ya enunciation when you're singing. Sijui if you've experienced the same, but hii imekuwa my experience for a long time kwa a number of live shows here za singers. And unaweza notice that your difference when wana switch to maybe kitu kama Kiswahili. Perhaps pia ni hiyo familiarity ya Kiswahili na vile wanaideliver. Ilikuwa niseme Rogato alidiscuss the same thing when we were reviewing Scam Cardinali's Easy, that skaki get kwa hizo rhymes zile anatumia Kiingereza, vile inatoka high sound smooth and easy as vile anarapingi na Soa na Sheng. So kuna an intricate and in-depth layer to history ya language na vile unaiperceive ukiisikiza, and therefore reading the lyrics of songs. And ilikuwa the same thing when I was getting into hip-hop. It explains how we've been singing songs wrongly for years. That's actually the best example tunaweza tumia. Tumeimba songs incorrectly because of how we were listening, how we were hearing those songs and hizo lyrics. Years later una find out nilikuwa nasema kitu wrong. So that has been most of us, and that has been me for hip-hop lyrics when I was getting into the genre while I was young. And then when I get ukisikia later unasikia the words better, umesikia for so long. Also while I was getting into battle rap, the same thing. Babu alikuwa explain being neurodivergent, I love listening to songs with their lyrics. I find it so easy, my mind understands more. Baba anasema it's like the first time listening to Sia sing, so pia I feel the same. So it takes time, you get used to it. Baada ya muda, Babo says, I can feel when an artist is singing in a language they ain't comfortable in. You can't tell. Language choice ni kitu interesting. So now let's get to our guest. Atuambie kuhusu Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar's 5th studio album. Najua kuna a few things that will come out kwa hii discussion na Babo. I cannot wait for that to happen. I cannot wait to hear their sentiments. Kwanza venye aliongelea story ya kufumble, najua Kendrick is about to get this work. Mr. Moral is about to get this work from Babu. So should I get into the album? Also, kama umesikiza, you can tell us. DMB unaweza tuambia na Viva your interpretations of what the album is about and what the title is about and how it connects to the work, and then to have Babu hapa. So let's finish that, then to have Babu. Your comments kuhusu Babu will expound on these aspects akikuja. Amesema atashare na sisi when atakuja. But before to get hapo, what did you take away from the album Viva na DMB, kama ni from the title and how it connects to the work, ama the album as it is and the songs in there? What are your interpretations kuhusu hii kazi na maudhui yenye Kendrick Lamar aliwasilisha? This double disc 18 tracks, an hour and 13 minutes album. Na mjue tu mtangoja another mtangoja miaka before mpate another album from Quelle Lamar. Ho 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 ho. DMB, hata bila kuongelea the cover, unaweza ongelea tu the album vile iko na what you think it's about. Viva, na assume you're typing your paragraphs before tuite Babo hapa akuja tupatie thesis yake. You can just speak on the songs and what you think. Viva nini yake imekuja. Haya, Viva DMB, how many listens have you given? No, Viva alishatuambia. DMB umesikia mara ngapi? Viva alisema amesikia twice, lakini bado ana feel kuna vitu hajapata, nafaa asikize tena. Mjera, what about you? Yeah, the song Silent Hill. That nilikuwa nasema earlier nikisoma New Thoughts from OK Lamar. Mjera, umesikia kazi mara ngapi kaka? Na mkuwe ready for the audience from Babo's side. Unajua Babo ni superstar, so mkiona the viewer count imepanda, msishtuke sana. Tuko na superstar amongst us, so now prepare. So finally, before to join, DMB anasema I think maybe ni juu sijaisikiza enough, but bado sijapata connection at the cover to the title and the content. Is that even possible? Yes, it is. Viva alisema nothing yet. I've not made the connection. I still need more time. My brain is really slow. So kwa sasa sina jibu. DMB amesikiza once na Auntie Diaries stood out for me. And now yani, those are our sentiments thus far. And dear human, Viva naona always it wako live. Why is your button isn't blue? Iko dimmed, eh? You don't want to join people's lives on Instagram? Nakwambia Babo's peeps washaanza kuingia.
Hi, JK.
Niaje superstar?
Hi, my people sleep early. Si wachawi kama mimi. At least they don't follow in my footsteps. That's a good thing. We love that.
Your people sleep early na wanakuja. Na wanakuja.
Okay. Yeah, Viva, that revising thing.
So if you see your
JK, I've
if you
missed
see
you.
if you
I've
see
missed you so much.
if you see your people coming through, feel free to interrupt your thought process na kuwasalimia. JK anasema ni mchawi kama unaona? You see? Kuna ati Karibu sana JK, karibu sana Christine. Tuna discuss Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the latest album from Kendrick Lamar. If you have any thoughts regarding it, just throw anything in the comment section. kuna button fulani hapo ya a question you can ask if you have any question regarding the album, regarding what Babu will say, regarding what we'll say. Feel free to participate in the conversation. Karibu kwa sana. Karibu tu sana kwa sana. A platform where we highlight, document, and critique Kenyan music. If that's something you're into, kuna a blog under the same name, kuna this Instagram account, na kuna a YouTube channel with over 300 videos.
And
DMB
because
anaencourage uchawi.
I love DMB has just said and encourage uchawi. So guys, this is an official career starting now. I'm totally in.
Hii ni safe space ya
Um,
wachawi.
Thank you, DMB, for offering the safe space. I feel so good about this.
Hii ni safe space ya wachawi. So before Babu aanze, acha nisome comment ya Viva then to get into. Viva alisema twice, yes, but again, kama Babu with my ND neurodivergence, I'm about 3 times slower than the normal human being, so I have to revise again. Yes. Haya basi. Now, mchawi, unaweza ji-introduce unavyotaka kisha get into your thesis.
First,
And thank you for joining us
my
this
name is
morning.
Seise Bagbo, and I'm here because I bullied African into allowing me into this live. If he was to have it his way, I wouldn't be here. I don't even listen to music as much. Why I really wanted to discuss Kendrick Lamar's album is because African knows I used to be a fan, and
Start there.
I used to be a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. I think that's when African actually believed that I listened to hip hop, but he still said because Kendrick Lamar is popular, my loving hip hop is not counted if I love Kendrick Lamar. So again, I was thrown out of the hip hop community. Even loving him, African, is not proof that I love hip hop. So I got thrown out of the hip hop community. But as we know, you stay tenacious, you fight for your space until you get there. And this is me still trying to prove to African I'm part of the hip hop community. So what really stopped me from, and my review is going to make sense because of that, what really stopped me from being a fan of Kendrick Lamar is because African, please, have you seen that comment? So what really stopped me from being a fan of Kendrick Lamar is the R. Kelly issue, which during that time, it really stopped me even from Erykah Badu, whom I think I started listening to because of African. African, this is me saying thank you. You remember you're the one who sent me like her old whatever's, the links where I could get them. And then when R. Kelly's issue was at a time when people expected, we all know what happened with R. Kelly. R. Kelly is convicted, both an accused and convicted rapist, and his violence really was targeted towards young girls and boys, right? And so I really thought it was such a black and white conversation until I had people that I really admired talking about it, and one of them being Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar's label, TDE, refused when R. Kelly's songs were about to be brought down in Spotify. The people refused that if R. Kelly's songs were brought down from Spotify, they would bring down all the artists. And when Kendrick Lamar was asked about it, he was in support of that. And I understand securing the bag, you don't want to fuck up with your label or whatever, but still, the way he handled it and made it seem like it was black men being targeted when he knew this black man, this particular black man is an abuser, is a rapist, and is someone who's violated so many other black people. Like his atrocities were towards black people. So it didn't make a lot of sense why he took the side he took. And when he was asked about it, it kept doubling down. And that's when they had the conversation with Erykah Badu, and both of them looked at it. And I understand, by virtue of black people in America being very marginalized, then their judgment will always be higher. But when it came to someone like R. Kelly, yes, the judgment was harsh because it wasn't harsh. It was, he was caught more than other white people who've done the same things he's done. But does that mean that what the other white people have done is okay? No. I expected better from Kendrick Lamar. So that was when I said, we rub friendship. We were not friends. Okay, we rub this fan-based thing. I'm not your fan anymore. I know it's only one view, but to be sincere, I used to listen to him a lot. Like, I could have contributed 1,000 views to the song they have with Alicia Keys. It's on again, like 1,000 views. And Freedom with Beyonce, same. So that's why when I said that I wasn't excited for the album, it only got to me because I'm normally so much on Twitter, so I got to see it. That's why I saw the album. The album cover, like we've all said here, was really beautiful art. And the reviews, people trying to speculate what will be in the album from the album cover is what I was saying, made me laugh so much. Like, they were reviewing it until I was like, is it the coming of Jesus? Like, what the hell? You guys are really deep in this. Someone said, you see, with the way he's carrying a child, there is someone on the bed who looks like they're breastfeeding a child, and that he has the crown of thorns, and that is the sign of how his manliness has been crucified, and him carrying the child is how his manliness has been reduced. Now he's performing, I don't know, feminine duties, but the throne, I was just, did he say all that? Like, where are we getting all this from? Who are we talking to? Who are we talking to who's giving us all this information? I was so shocked. I was really shocked with all this, like, where are you getting this information from? Where are you getting this? So I still didn't think I was going to listen to The Morale and the Big Steppers. I still didn't think I was going to listen to it. And so I was like, okay, people be hyped. For me, drawing away from Kendrick Lamar was a personal decision. So every time that people talk about him, I just be like, oh yeah, I need you to just be aware of where he stands, right? And he's never apologized in public or said, I was wrong with that R. Kelly decision. So for me, I believe that's where it still stands. It's only that at that point, that conversation moved on. So it's not an active conversation. So we don't know. But that's where it still stands. So long as it doesn't come and it says nothing about it and he moves on, for me, that's where it still stands. And so getting to this album, I didn't want to watch it. I wasn't... Yes, and then the gun on his waist and all that, and he's standing, and it's like he's watching the window. Yet there is a photo of Malcolm X with a gun, and he's standing next to the window. And people are like, "Oh yeah, that's the reference." And guys, like, chill out, like, just cool it down, like, take several seats, be calm about this. Then there is so The Heart Part 5. How many times have I listened to this album? I've listened to one song more than I needed to. Like, I've contributed like views to that song, and I didn't want to. And away from that, also reading lyrics, because I was avoiding adding views to those songs, because I made a personal decision to walk away from this. So I kept just reading lyrics, and then I realized this is not a novel, this is not a book. I'm gonna at one point as an artist, want to listen to him speak. I'll know his intonation. I'll know what he means. And that song is Auntie Diaries. And
Mm.
I've seen DMB says that's the song that stood out the most to him. I want to know why, because it's one of the songs I'm going to review. I'm not going to review the entire album. I feel like the entire album, if I will be reviewing it, I'll be speaking out of my ass because I do not have the range. I do not have enough information to speak about that entire album. I'm going to speak about what stood out to me and what I went into the album specifically for, right? The others were by the ways. I listened to them as by the ways. I listened to them because I wanted to get full context so that I don't speak out of my ass. I don't like that. So that I don't speak out of my ass. When I talk, I know what I'm talking about. But the rest of the songs, all 18 of them in that entire, you called it a 2 disc album, we just thought it's fancy. So there were two that stay with me, and then the Heart Part 5. Why I listen to the Art Part 5 is because I'm missing one person in the list. I don't know why I've forgotten their names. One of the faces that he was wearing, because that was also the one that I saw the art for, and I was so intrigued. Like, I want to see where he's going on with that. Like, where are you headed to with this? I didn't know Jussie Smollett was part of the people that he highlighted in the Heart Part 5. I didn't know until because I didn't see his photo. And again, that speaks to the homophobia in the industry, because you talked about it last time, but that speaks because how did I see everyone's photo except his? And someone was like, oh yeah, these are the people who have inspired him. And I'm like, if you're saying that the people who are in the Heart Part 5 are people who've inspired him, the people you morphed into and the people he's seen, what then? Why didn't you guys just have like the one gay man who's in the entire thing was not part of it? I would love to know that. Then
Who had posted that?
it was on Twitter. It was on Twitter. No,
Or
it was on Twitter.
do for
Just his many fans.
most of the artworks I saw zilikuwa na those was it 5 or
Juicy.
6? Most
There are
that's my
five.
most of them that I
There are
saw
five,
zilikuwa
I
nao wote
think.
5, yeah.
Oh, there are five, right?
So unless kuna mtu alitoa. Mhm.
There are
Nani
five. It's
OJ,
Juicy Smollett.
Kanye, Juicy,
Oh yeah.
Kobe,
No.
na
They're not.
no 6.
They're
There's
six.
me
Yeah. I
na
forgot
Nico
Kanye.
6. Yeah, yeah.
I forgot Kanye. I don't know.
Is Kanye
So,
forgettable, Baba?
do you want to land me in trouble? Say it so that I know what I'm walking into. Just say it. It's okay. It's okay. So that I know what I'm walking into. Yeah. And so I'll start with the Heart Part 5. For me, what stood out in the Heart Part 5 is I realized that the people he highlighted are people who really are men. Let's start with that. Are Black men who have been subjected to some kind of injustice, or who have been judged so harshly by the society for decisions they made, for the way they decided to live, like for their choices, right? And they've had some kind of run-ins with both the Black community and I think the police. At least that's what I figured from both their backgrounds and the people they grew into. And then there are people who've influenced cultures. Having Jussie Smollett as a leading character in a Black-owned series like Empire, I think Empire was Black-owned, was really big. First, I think it was like amongst the first gay lead and all that. And then Kobe Bryant, we know Kobe Bryant and changing the way, being an inspiration, right? And then there is Nipsey, O.J. Simpson. I want to know O.J. Simpson. I'm curious about this O.J. Simpson thing. Maybe there's something Kendrick knows that I don't know, so I'm going to let that. And then there is Will Smith, and Will Smith being the good black man, or until he slapped someone, right? Uh, then there is Kanye. Kanye, mm, I don't know. Like right now, when we are discussing Kanye, we even talk about. I know one thing that is for all these people is because of how genius they've been in their career paths, right? There is that can't be taken away from them. But my point of staying was Jussie Smollett right now has a court case. Why? Because they kept insisting that he lied about his attack, hate crime attack against him because he's gay. They said he lied about it. There are so many things going on. I feel the police overreacted. That is one thing that I feel. The police overreacted. And having him in jail, whatever, like they overreacted. They really overreacted. And then there is Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's death was so like, it stopped the Grammys. Alicia Keys, I don't think anyone would have handled the Grammys that day if it wasn't Alicia Keys. She found a way to hold space. But there is his past. His past with him uh, raping someone. And I don't know, this is going to be a theme that goes on. So, trigger warning. And then there is Nipsey. Nipsey, I really loved the way the last, is it the last bars? Let me go with bars. The last bars where he has Nipsey's face and the way he talks about not blaming blackness or whatever, all the culture for his death, still his hope for the youth that he was helping and all that. It really, that part felt emotional and it felt really good. Nipsey was, I think, one of the few people that I know who owned themselves in the way that they are in completely. And that is the one feature here that I really was like, okay, cool. You were inspired by Nipsey. OJ Simpson, Lord, like denied his blackness until he needed his black community to come to his rescue, which they did. After, can we still go with allegedly? After killing his wife and her best friend. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what that was for. I really wanted to know. And then there is Will Smith. That I loved Will Smith feature because everyone has been staring off Will Smith because he's a simp, whatever. He's not in charge of his marriage. Every bullshit that has been said about that. And then there is Kanye, whom we've seen actively use his not being, his mental illness as an excuse to stalk someone. Like we've seen it go down in real time. Stalk them till use his resources to just buy a house opposite and keep stalking, you know? We've seen him do that, like release an entire song where he beheads that person's new partner. Like, Lord, we've seen it all. I would love to know him being a genius, yes, but when someone is a genius, does it take away from the kind of harm they've done? I would love us to know that. So the hard part 5, um, I found it really interesting. It was really emotional because you could tell where Kendrick's heart was when talking about it. I think he was still at the place of the black men, the way they've been viewed for their choices, and the way I think they're judged against the bigger system. The way they're judged for being the persons that they are in the way that they are. I think that was the message. At least I want to believe that. I don't want to play devil's advocate. I'm saying from what I felt, that was his focus. And then Auntie's Diary, we do it later because I can see DMB has already commented.
Mm-hmm.
Is DMB Mujera or Muhera?
Mujera.
Okay. And then Silent Hill. Again, Another person that hip hoppers love, or let me say, is seen in mainstream hip hop is J. Cole. And I think I've talked to you about J. Cole. Um, First, I want to say this. I don't trust an artist who don't read. Mostly if it's a word artist. What are you going to talk about if you don't read? Singers can get away with not reading. Rappers, spoken word artists, any other artist who uses word, where they, you can't get away with not reading. You cannot get away with not reading. Even if you said that the people who are writing for you or whatever, and from what I understand, Kendrick writes for himself. He said that. His interviews, he said that. The booth is his place, it's his therapy. But I think it's about time. From this album, what I just kept saying is about time Kendrick just went to therapy himself, not use the booth as his therapy, because some of those things should have stayed in his diary or journal. Would it have known? It would have been okay. Some of those things should have been discussed with his therapist, and it should have been fine than coming to tell us. He should have. This Silent Hill, why Silent Hill stayed with me, and when you mentioned Hill when talking about New Thoughts, I was just like, amazing. Silent Hill, I didn't know it was there until I went to listen to Auntie Diaries. Then I saw a feature with Kodak Black. Anyone who doesn't know Kodak Black admitted to raping someone. Admitted, not accused or like said he did it. But do you know Kodak Black was written off and no one wanted to work with him? But what has kept Kodak since that accusation live in the hip hop industry is J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. J. Cole was so, I never like giving political analysis of people's artworks because I want to believe when you produce art, you produce them for yourself. But this is what happens. When you posture yourself as someone who's willing to change culture, someone who wants to change politics, and your art, you position it as politics, we are going to give it a political analysis. Why? Because you said you do it. You said you are part of this political scene. In your artistry, you intend to be political. And so having Kodak Black in a song, which I think when you listen to that album is a bit hyped song of them all, at least from my side. It was the song that has the we go move around. Like it felt danceable. All these songs are danceable, but it felt like it was the song that didn't have a pack of emotions. It felt that's how it felt to me. And having Kodak on an album, someone, I don't know, maybe he thought that, or maybe that's how it works. It's saying, oh, we give people second chances. Has Kodak ever been apologetic about what he did? No. Like, you get out on a technicality, then what? And then for me, I tied that to him defending R. Kelly, to him getting to this place where he works with Kodak, another person who's raped someone. Where are we going with this? What are you trying to do? When you say, oh yeah, we're gonna defend women and show me some bitches with real ass, Lord. Then later we're now being like, where is this defense when people actually need it? Where is your mind when people actually need it? So for me, why Silent Hill is here as part of the songs that I got to review is Kodak. Why do you have Kodak in a song? Why do you have that? Like, why are you doing that? What is your reason? Give him a second chance. Why? Are you giving him a second chance? Has he said he's sorry? Has he apologized? Has he done any kind of... For me, yes, I'm against the prison system. So for me, serving jail time, whatever, has never helped any victim when they've been abused. It doesn't help any victim. For me, that where's the justice? Where's the restorative justice for the victim? There is nothing. He didn't do shit. And so you have him because he's your buddy. And talking about them being tight, I want to know, like, are we still going to say you don't know any rapists? Like, clearly, you're tight friends. We know what is happening with your tight friends. And then that brings me to Auntie's Diaries. So before Auntie's Diaries, you could read Mujera's comment.
Tupe Babu nafasi ya kukunywa maji after their submission. So earlier quickly JK alikuwa amesema I'm still deciphering track number 2 and 95
Yeah,
line by line.
me too. Me too. I watched it, I came back, I did, and then when I watched today in the evening, I was just like, so I thought that maybe when I do the lyrics thing, it's not making sense to me. I went back and it was just like, okay, I can't even write anything about this one. Like, let me just move away from you. Maybe someone else understood it. I'm going to read your reviews. I'm going to read your reviews.
So yeah, and 95 iko na video that just dropped hours ago, niko yet kuchecking.
Yes.
And then also another comment by JK that Babu alicheka earlier ilikuwa ya watu kutheorize on the artwork. JK alisema it's been 5 years but na understand us with our theories na laughter emojis. Then DMB mentioned Prestoria, the gun on his waist was the last thing I noticed about the cover. Then on Auntie Diaries, which Babu I mean nickname Auntie's Diaries, as Babu likes to do.
You know, I do that to songs all the time. I don't. It's like the villagers.
Yeah, JK bag. So JK, shukran for the follow. I appreciate that much. So before DMB, Babu, you can call me Muhera. Amesema Auntie. Okay. Before nisome hiyo, amesema Auntie Diaries stood out for me mostly because not many mainstream rappers would take that direction. I think Jay-Z has a similar song on his album 444, and it's always a brave direction to take. So from 444, which was a vulnerable album by Jay-Z that was released in 2017, same year Kendrick released Damn, kulikuwa na a lot of vulnerability. One surrounding his relationship with his ego. The opening song was Kill Jay-Z. I once played that song on my live. Nilijua sijui because Jay-Z ni nani. It came through for me. Niambia, young man, you can't use my songs on your live. Live ikakatika. But apart from that, kulikuwa na the song that anaongelea madhake. And yeye sort of could talk about reveal ama kushare with the world, and then kuhusu sexuality ya madhake, then kulikuwa na the 444 itself na stories za infidelity. So those songs were the vulnerable songs. I think there kuna others, but hizo ziligusia critical aspects of Jay-Z's life. Then the last one from DMB ni Babo might make me look at Kendrick the same way Joe Biden make me look at Eminem. Was this through the podcast or najua Joe na Eminem wamekuwa na a lot of controversies and a contention for very many years. DMB, what part exactly kuhusu Joe na M? Share that with
I
us.
also would love to know that.
It was through Auntie Diaries. Unajua Eminem ni favorite of Bab.
No, like that one too, I'll say I was a fan. So I don't know, hip hop does that to me. And then, you know, the time you were saying that I'll be coming here later, I left the bedroom and Bambi's like, all the best. And it felt like, oh, you see that, like when the rock walking from that side all the way to the living room, felt like, when The Rock is always coming into wrestling, is the same way it comes into it's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Yeah, I felt like that. Like I was almost removing my shirt, like, yeah, I'm not scared. Um, so,
You just referred to, you see, the rappers that Babu is listening to. Kina The Rock ndio watu Babu wanasikiza, alafu ataka tumkubalie kwa the hip hop community.
please, I listened
Kusema
to
podcast.
Tech Nine, Brother Tech Nine. Please, Brother Tech Nine, does it count? Brother Tech Nine too. No induction yet? No? I thought like, Brother Tech
Continue
Nine?
with your submission.
Brother
Continue
Tech
with your
Nine?
submission. Continue with your submission. And
Okay.
shukran to Viva, DMP, Eddie Bado kwa hapa na JK, the Christian creative too. Aya, proceed, Babu.
Okay. So, Auntie Diaries. I don't know why I want to call it aunties, like aunties. I think only Viva could understand that reference. Anyway, before I talk about Auntie Diaries, Lord, you guys are gonna let me get away with this. The album introduction. So someone posted somewhere mid-April that Kendrick stopped making music. Then that's how JK has said tech counts. For that, I take a break. Tech counts. So, Brother Tech Nine, I've been inducted into hip hop. African tech counts. Tech counts. Thank you. So, yeah, Auntie Diaries was the first song that I knew. And that time, the album introduction was so interesting. That person tweeted, I don't know if it was coordinated, that person tweeted that Kendrick Lamar stopped making music, and then that tweet was quote retweeted with Kendrick Lamar is releasing his music in. Yeah. And so people thought that, oh, if we just tell artists that they've stopped music, they'll, and then people tried doing that to Rihanna. I don't think it didn't work. Like, I think she might just push that album another year or two. Yeah, push that album another year or two.
I know the tweet you're saying.
Yeah.
Because ilikuwa the SK someone ali tweet in February maybe 18, and then
Yeah.
in April Kendrick ali quote tweet
Retweet, yes.
the website.
Yeah. And so Auntie Diaries is what I got to find out first. And it mattered to me because that's why I told you, like, when he fumbled is when I got to listen to his music, which I feel so bad about that. I went there because I wanted to know how did he fumble? And first, like DMB said, it is a path very few hip hoppers ever want to go through. Like, hip hoppers don't like talking about violence, except Eminem when he's talking about how violent it can be. Tie you to the bed and set the house on fire. And then hip hoppers don't like talking about LGBTQIA community at all. They do not like it. Why? Because these are the things that threaten the belief system of violence that they have going on in the hip hop culture. And so Kendrick following this path really got me interested. Like, okay, so what is he going to talk about? Like, how is he going to handle this? And I really tried to avoid people's analysis of it because the moment I realized that he talked about transness, that's personal. So I need to stay away from it. I need to like find other things, mind my business. But every time I kept going back, considering that most of my Twitter, the people I follow and the people who follow me are actually part of the queer community. So I was really interested to know like what they thought about it. So I went and looked for the lyrics. My way of not contributing a view, Because I know when I start listening to it, I want to listen like 10 times with different aesthetics, keep changing. Maybe I didn't like it because I listened to it when I was on the bed, and now go look for a place to sit, like go sit on, look for places that I could listen to this. And after every lesson, which happened mostly yesterday on Sunday, after every lesson, I came back with the same feeling. Maybe more and better analysis, maybe more patience, but I came back with the same feeling. The feeling was constant. And that feeling is Kendrick had no business doing that song. I know as queer people, the constant thing we're always told is be grateful that such someone actually tweeted that, be very grateful that such a big rapper decided to handle your issues. First, it's not our issues. Now, you're told that so that you don't have to ever deal with yourselves or your systems. It's not our issues. So that is the first thing. Second, we can't be grateful because someone mentioned us, however dehumanizing. Maybe people here don't know about pronouns. People have pronouns. And this is how pronouns work. Pronouns is the way you feel good about being referred to. We all learned about pronouns in English. And what happens with being trans is some people change their pronouns because the way they want to be viewed by the world and the way they feel about themselves, those pronouns definitely change. And Kendrick's uncle, it's even crazier that this is called Auntie Diaries, yet he's referring to his uncle. It's wild. And when it starts, he's like, my auntie is a man now, and talking about how he's grown up to know better. But knowing better means doing better. When you know better, you do better. In this song, there is no point that Kendrick does better at all. He doesn't do any better. He uses their dead names. Dead name, artists should understand dead names. Dead names are those names you don't like being referred to. You see the way you chose your name, and sometimes you guys say stage name or whatever, but even your stage name, sometimes when people dead name you or call you a name that you don't use anymore, there is a way you feel. That is the same thing with trans people. Trans people, there's a way we feel about being called names that are not ours. It's not my name. Why? Because I've told you what my name is in this moment. My name is so and so. It's not my name. The time Dimitri is Marianne now.
Marianne now.
Yeah, and I'm like, Marianne, why are you not using Marianne throughout? One, two, why do you keep referring to that person? Because they're Marianne and their pronouns are she, her, and all through you're saying he. The other one, for your aunt, your uncle, you're saying she. How does it make sense that you've known better? What point in that song do we see Kendrick being like, now I know better? And then when he comes and uses the F slur, I don't know if I use it in Instagram will bring you down. We're going to say faggot and then see what they'll do. Yeah, we say it and then we see what they'll do about it.
Yeah,
So
it's what
what
they do. Yeah. Because me pia sikuwa sure. I think sijui ka Instagram nini zao recognize. YouTube most definitely. Instagram sijui. But umeisema okay sijui.
we wait. So when you use the F slur, when you say faggot, and you are a cis heterosexual man, you use the word faggot, then says that faggot. Say we can all say it, but only if we let the white girl says nigger. One thing that gets me to, it confused my mind. And what I kept being like, even if we were to allow that white girl who wants to say nigger, cis heterosexual people are still not allowed to say faggot. Why? This is why things are called slurs. They're called slurs because people died from being referred to that way. Slurs are words. He said words don't mean nothing. Words don't mean nothing. Words mean something. Why? Because slurs were normally used to target violence towards people. When someone calls you nigger, even if you look white like snow, you know there's a kind of violence they're training on your back. Even black people who could pass, their fear was being called nigger. Why even white people can't use nigger right now is because if you've been a part of the people who benefited from a slur being used on people, you can't use it. That is simply it. It's like your mom or another black person could fight with you, call you monkey, and it's just an insult. But when a white person fights with you and calls you monkey, you know what they mean. You know what they mean. Even if they said monkey and they're smiling at you, you know what they mean. Saying I didn't intend to harm when what you've done has harmed doesn't take away the harm. It doesn't. And so that was where I was at with Auntie Diaries, because I was like, you keep saying you know better. You keep repeating you know better, but you keep dead naming people, misgendering people. What are you knowing better? Using the word faggot. What have you known better? And I talk again as an artist, that as artist, almost everyone who's here is an artist. And also word artist. That's what I love. Almost everyone who's here is a word artist. One thing that you know as a rapper, a spoken word artist, however little the time you have to deliver a message, you can think it through and deliver it in a way that makes sense. I'm going to give an example. There's a particular piece that, what's his name? Akuya, that's the name. There's a piece Akuya has, a particular piece that Akuya has about rape. And Akuya, that piece, if he performed it to fellow poets, would understand its sarcasm. If he performed it to fellow poets, would be like, wow, that is a very new, different way of viewing it, because his piece is speaking as a rapist. But Akuya was called to a show that I attended where he performed that piece, and majority of the people in the crowd and the people who got to listen to this piece were people who were survivors of rape and sexual violence. People were leaving the room crying and having panic attacks from listening to that piece. And so, what I kept, and I remember later, like it took us years to even sit down with Akuya and discuss that piece. And he was like, that was a bad choice. Like that piece, he's never ever performed it ever again. Why? Because in that moment, it didn't serve its purpose. If Kendrick wrote this song and maybe stemmed out of a discussion he's had with his Dimitri Marianne is the cousin, aunt, uncle, does he still have access to these people? Did he talk to them? If he's talked to them, that he's settled with them, that he got their consent to talk about their lives like that, or he got to talk to them and they settled this, he should have found a way to discuss this. Not tell us when you used to be children, you used to shout your faggotry. When you shout that, and then later tell us you've grown and now you know better, but go back and still use the same words that you used when you didn't know better, and still insinuate the same things that you did when you didn't know better. For me, then you still don't know any better. Take several seats, learn, and know better. And you know what was even more hurtful, and that's why I talked about J. Cole earlier and Kodak. J. Cole did a similar thing. Like, J. Cole also did a similar thing. And this similar discussion took place when J. Cole did it. That it's so wild. Like, you didn't learn. Do we have to repeat ourselves this many times? And when you position yourself as a political artist, just know one thing, that there are politics you're going to have to learn. because we are raised with so many biases. We have biases based on religion, culture, so many biases. And because of the system we exist in, people benefit from those biases you have. And the way you had to learn that Black people are not monkeys, they're not modern or whatever, so that you could grow, is the same way you learn. The same way, and I was saying, like, Kendrick Lamar is such a powerful artist, lyricist, that if he wanted to do better, he could have. You look at things, the song he created, Freedom, with Beyonce. Kendrick Lamar is in that track, I think, for less than 30 seconds. Like, it's less than 1 minute. Let me just go with that. But he delivers exactly, like, he comes from slavery, moves to this, now the revolution that he envisions, how revolution will never be like everything that he envisions for people in less than 60 seconds. And do we understand it? Him saying that this particular piece was watered down so that he could refer to the way society views things. You don't need to water down. That means that you think your fans are stupid. If he was watering it down so that his fans could understand, then his fans are stupid. He really believes they are stupid. They won't make a connection that when, with me saying my aunt is a man now, I was so pissed. I was like, if you've learned about trans politics, you'd know your aunt was always a man. What happened is your system is screwed up. That's what's happening. You'd learn it. And positioning himself in a way that he talks about it. And then that connects me to him being best buddies with Dave Chappelle. At that point, I was just like, do I say this was an innocent mistake, or do I say you really know what you're doing? You used this as a way of getting your album to be talked about. Did you use us as fodder for pushing your album? Because that happens all the time. Dave Chappelle keeps his controversies about trans people because it keeps his shows selling. He does that. The other day, even like being like, people don't know right now if he was actually attacked. He said a trans person attacked him, only for people to check and realize, no, it wasn't a trans person who attacked him on stage. It was a white supremacist. So, in that moment, that he even lies that we attacked him on stage, is he using this just to get his fans? Because he knew that the queer community was going to react. Like right now in America, they're facing the worst retrogressive laws ever on women and queer people. If you say anything out of pocket in that moment, people are going to react. They're going to want to say something. So did he use that to get people to say things, to push his album? Which if he did, I'm so hurt. Like, I was already disappointed in him. I just didn't think there would be a new law if he did that. But if it was an honest mistake, I really hope he rectifies it. But people telling us, like, I hope he regrets involving you guys in his album. He didn't involve us. Involving queer people in his album would have been having a queer feature. Like, there's so many queer people in the hip hop industry could have done that so easily, who are as talented, who are equally talented. He could have had so many, like, there are even queer women. Like, he could have had so many queer people featured in his album if that's the message. Even for that particular piece, he could have easily had a trans person because there's so many of them. He could have easily worked with a trans person in that piece and not made the same mistake. But he decided and he made a choice to go ahead and do that. Every feeling that I felt when listening to The Hard Part 5, it felt like he just prepared me for this eventual heartbreak. And it was really heartbreaking to listen to that particular piece. With Kodak, I was just like, dude, what? So that is it. Different forms of violence happening at the same time in one album. So what now? What now? What are we supposed to take from this? Are you being an ally? Are you just telling us your story? And I respect that it's his story. It's his aunt, his people, so he gets to do whatever he wants. But this is it. The space he occupies in the society dictates how so many people behave. That is the thing about having a fandom. he has a fandom that when he released his album, Apple and Spotify experienced almost like 1 hour of delay because of the so many people who are going to just like he fucks up the internet when he releases a statement. So he knows the power he holds, meaning the people who do what he says. So what now? What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to think about his work? I really think Auntie Diaries ruined my experience of this, an experience that I didn't think I was even going to have because I didn't think I was going to listen to the album anyway. But listening to it, I would listen to like 4 songs and then go back to Auntie Diaries because I thought that I missed something. I thought I was overthinking it, overanalyzing it. But I realized that if you position yourself as a political figure, we will analyze you politically. Having fun be damned. We will analyze you politically. And if we analyze you by your politics, not even politics we made up, by what you keep saying, by your politics, and we find you're speaking out of your ass, we will tell you so. Yeah. And I think in that particular piece, Kendrick spoke out of his ass. Like, let him stick to talking about Black Lives Matter. Let him go back. Let him speak about talking about Black Lives Matter, how black men are killed, and telling us how his race can be seen, but our sexualities and genders cannot be seen. Yet, Let's Speaker got attacked. What do you think they were looking at? It's perception. People don't give a fuck what I look like. They look at me and make a judgment and then attack me. It's as simple as that. This year alone in Kenya, about 107 queer people have been killed. Only 3 made to news. What do you think the people who are killing them are looking for? Yes, black people. There was even an anti-black attack yesterday in the US. Those guys have a lot of lone gun people who write manifestos, but when they get to the news, they're lone gun people. We know the race thing, but can you imagine that they're exactly your uncle and your cousin are black trans people? So they carry both the race and they have a double targets on their backs. You can't get to tell us like these my color gets seen, but your sexualities and your genders don't get seen. No, even your color gets seen is perception. It's perception. So this was the most disappointing piece of them all. Auntie Diaries was so disappointing, and saying that you needed it to start a conversation. You can't start a conversation based on people's lives like that. You don't create debates on people's lives. It's our daily experiences. It's wrong. You can't. You're not talking about politicians and passing laws. You're talking about actual experiences that get people killed, and you decide to handle it so carelessly. I don't know. And also Jay-Z 444. I really think Jay-Z's 444, the slap that Solange gave him before, really like clarified how that album was gonna look like, gave him some sort of clarity. So maybe that's why 444 might have handled this better, but this was disappointing. My rant is done. I can start breathing.
Haya, DMB na Viva na JK bado mko nasi at 1:11. Another moment of the numbers coding, so numerology, something to think about after our discussion na submission
What's
kutoka
kejeli?
Babu na kukejeli ni kuridicule.
Okay, I thought it's sarcasm. Okay.
Kukejeli, kuridicule. Inaweza kuangalia sijui exactly what sarcasm is in, so nimesahau.
Okay.
Kukejeli. Anyway.
Okay.
Tumesikia mawazo ya Babu kuhusu Mr. Morales Auntie Diaries especially, not the album entirely. Babu alisema alikuwa nasikia 3 to 4 songs, then alikuwa narudi kwa Auntie Diaries, and after kuona sentiments regarding the song ndio nilifanya aisikie, confirm what these conversations are about once again. Ametupatia a trail, a detailed explanation, a detailed trail of the history, relationship yake na Kendrick, and on a number of concerns, especially regarding transness, and then as well as assault, sexual assault, referring to Kodak, to Kelly, and now from the album Auntie Diaries, which for the second part, the Big Steppers, as track number, let me confirm that, track number 6 for the second disc of this album. Na tumesikia submission yake. Thank you Babu for the submission. Hizo ni a lot of things that we are supposed to think about. We are living in a world that is transphobic, homophobic, biphobic, sana. There's also, is it lesbophobic? Is that the word?
Yeah, lesbophobic.
At least nimeji-educate bana. I can feel good that and also, Babu, do you mind me plugging your other account at this point?
Yeah, you can.
Fine.
It's public.
Oh,
Like, I think even the account that is private is
unajua
Seise Bagbo, not the other one.
niulize you mind, ukasema yeah, so because how it mind
Um,
English si lugha yetu.
you see, that thing has confused me so much. At Goofy's show, the same thing happened. The guy was working with the camera. He came to my face and he was like, "Do you mind this me recording you?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "So you mind?" And I was like, "No, I do not mind." Like, what the hell? What the hell? What do you mean? So I mind. And then he also asked me a question that both demand different answers, like, "Do you mind?" And then before I answer that, like, "Can I plug?" And I'm like, "So what am I answering to?" I'll answer to the last one. Yes. "You can plug." "No, I do not mind." Is it complete? Like, do you now understand? Kenyans, please, please. The rest of Africa we were also
Yeah.
colonized. It's not only you. Mm.
Sisi sote and the world at large. So if you do not know who Babu is, alijiintroduce earlier, jina lake, na wako na an account which is a space called the Bambies. So here on Instagram and YouTube pia, though pale kwa YouTube wamekuwa lazy kidogo, we won't put them on blast for that, but we just have, lakini hapa on Instagram wako as active as you can imagine. Very, very active. They're doing amazing work for the queer space and for the LGBTQIA plus community. I do recommend that you follow them, queer or otherwise. Ni important sana. Kuna a lot of conversations that they do have kila Sunday. So inaweza kuwa una hang out na sisi kwa the Bambies around 8 p.m. and then when it comes to maybe 10 or 11, you come and chill again together with us apart sana kwa sana.
11,
But
please.
ni an educational platform, also in a capture the queer experience. Importantly, inaonyesha, and also as their bio would say, that we are here because looking through history, one thing that people have done, institutions of power, ni suppress and wipe away history ya the queer community, so that tunafika a point where people don't believe that we've had queer people in the world since the beginning of time, but ni a deliberate and intended act by institutions of power. Wipe away the history and the present, and so you tend to believe that they don't exist and that they are invisible. And so the work that the Bambis wanafanya ni intentional and a much needed thing for us to learn, but as well as with queer community, kuonyesha their visibility and that they are here. Importantly, unapologetically, don't get this wrong. They don't need your pity. Not at
Yep.
all. No one needs your pity.
Not even your support, darling. Just leave us the fuck alone.
Yes, not even
It's the
not
same thing
even
that I
your
said
support.
about that Kendrick thing. Just, it's okay. Leave it
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. So
Leave it alone.
yes, so unaweza go check that out and learn as much as you can. I constantly say and insist that tuko an era of over information. You cannot afford to be dumb and ignorant about things. There is so much at your disposal. Ni a simple Google search, and you can learn anything and everything at this point at the history of human existence. So do the due diligence and learn a lot. Nilisema pia hapa a few weeks back, sometimes you don't have to speak, just stay silent and learn. So thank you Babu for your input kuhusu Auntie Diaries. Nime intake a lot of perspectives that umeshare, divergent views from on the same, na we'll see what people have said before tuendelee. Hiyo ni ya kejeli, ilikuwa from Viva, alikuwa anasema ina sound, this is regarding Auntie Diaries, kama kejeli more than it sounds like him acknowledging them as who they are. Then akasema the mispronouncing was disturbing all through the song. First time I heard Akuyo's poem that Babu aliongelea, I was shocked. I didn't get it. I had to ask him too. I think I might have heard this poem possibly, but also as Babu alisema, ukiwa kwa space ya wasanii and creatives who understand literary devices, holistic devices, unaweza get. Ukiwa kwa different audience inaweza kuwa completely misunderstood na umiss ile mission ulikuwa nayo. And I think we've also spoken about when you're performing, knowing your different audiences, which will help you with your approach ya pieces zile unashare. JK amesema neat breakdown of thine thoughts, Babo. English ngumu, do you mind? Kizungu ni ngumu lakini Kiswahili ni ngumu zaidi. Hiyo ndo wanasemanga. So I will try and discuss, just bring up a few points here that nilikuwa naandika as Babu was speaking. Itaanza na, so Babu, you can also just take notes on this and then you can respond after I am done. Na nitaanzia na kule tulianzia with story ya R. Kelly and the account you gave us kuhusu Kendrick na Erykah Badu and TDE. I do not remember, I certainly don't remember sikuona thoughts za Erykah on the same at all. And also for Kendrick, the only thought I had ni yeye on album yake To Pimp a Butterfly. Outside of that, sikuona any interview alishare thoughts zake, so that was something new nilisikia from you. Juu kile najua ni there's a song, is it Mortal Man, anaongeleanga hiyo idea ya when an artist, and possibly that speaks to what Babu alikuwa anasema, amepatikana kama ni kwa an alleged situation or something that imekuwa confirmed na amekuwa convicted for the same, how does that change how you relate and connect to the artist? Because kuna kuna hiyo when shit hit the fan, is you still a fan, kwa one of those songs, and anatajanga R. Kelly na anatajanga Michael Jackson, anatajanga I think, I don't know if there's any other artist, but ilinikumbusha those lines from him, but I didn't get to watch the interview and when Ali Yongelea. So with that, I know you've spoken a lot about the latter part of this question, and we even spoke about it on MWE, but what are your views on cancel culture? And then you can tie it into I know you've spoken about it for you, but nataka tu pia emphasize during this conversation why you do not separate the art from the artist. And you may discuss severally, but for the sake of this conversation, you can tie that in. So now, one thing, tumongelea the cover, na the photo before Kendrick had dropped the album. One thing I've noticed about Kendrick when going into this, na kituka TPAB, kituka Good Kid, Mad City, ni kuna a lot of think pieces that people drop kuhusu kazi zake. And for me, huwa na view as a double-edged sword. Kuna the beautiful side of it ni hakuna a hip hop act who has think pieces about his work as much as Kendrick. We can bet on that. People write and discuss his art a lot and anything he does. Sana, sana, sana. And for a hip hop act, that is rare.
Yep.
And then now, and we just get in depth about him. And kuna hiyo blessing yao, people are consuming your art now, wanaangalia kila kitu unafanya na that perspective. The other hand, inaweza kuwa now since ni double edged, unakuwa victim ya over analysis, and sometimes maybe some things were unintentional, some things you didn't even do at all, but people are going to hizo extent. So inakuwa ni over analysis, na think pieces that are speaking about aspects of your art that you didn't think about, but a lot of artists could really use some analysis their work as much as him, but niko nafikiria ya think pieces na analysis. Now regarding Justin, I was and the Heart part 5, since hiyo pia ni kitu uliongelea. So there was OJ, there kanaweza kumka in order, kulikuwa na OJ, kulikuwa na Ye, I think Justin, then Will Smith, then 1, 2, 3, 4, then Kobe, then Nipsey. And nilipenda vile ulisema that hawa ni watu wenye people look at and examine based on their choices, whether ni vitu that the culture ina celebrate or otherwise, ina wa admonish na ina wa reprimand. And then kuna idea ya blackness and this black men and idea ya the culture. Kuna a few things that aliongelea regarding different aspects of black culture and how they relate to people, and that refrain, look what I have done for you, a statement coming from these different men, in fact, and how it applies to the particular lyrics. Nilisema how Kendrick intertwines his references in a clever way that you might not get. Kuna the Marvin Gaye sample for the instrumentation. The other one was on that OJ reference. Juu alimanage kutai OJ na Jay-Z. Naona baba amekuwa distracted, so we'll just also read this before tuendelee. Genge nasema, come to think of it, the backlash that football players will receive for cases such as sexual assault, rape, abuse, etc., whereby unapata sponsorships inakuwa dropped, partners wanapata ways, sponsors, na even I think DMB still typing. DMB endelea kutype, kuna limit ya words. And then I think Nani is also typing, JK is also typing, but amesema Lamar is one to have layers to himself, so much that if you're not careful, you listen to him with the bare minimum, that is quoting it all, you get lost in the poetry and
limit your words. Even JK, they've limited his words. You guys say what you need to. Yeah.
Monday. We are here for it at 1:27 a.m. on Monday morning. This is how you fight capitalism.
Exactly. Defund capitalism. Tomorrow they don't have about 5 workers. Please. Labor, nothing.
Yes. So on references, alitai in Jay-Z interestingly. One kuna an obvious reference, but the other one ilikuwa nafikiria first ni alikuwa anaongelea idea ya blackness and how OJ didn't view himself as black. So nilikuwa nafikiria that is one thing we know about OJ. The second thing ni Jay-Z on 444 story of OJ talks about OJ Simpson. Na anasemanga hiyo nini ya this nigga, that nigga, poor nigga, rich nigga,
still nigga.
So there is that. And using OJ
Yeah.
to tell that idea na kushare
Jason,
that regardless of the amount
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay. Like you still are black and you cannot escape that. So when Kendrick brought that in na akatumia OJ, nilikumbuka hiyo nini ya Jay-Z and story of OJ, and yeye kutai OJ akiongelea the same thing about blackness. Akisema, I said I do this for my culture, to let you all know what a nigga look like in a bulletproof robe. And kuongelea story ya my mama sofa and whatnot, na kuongelea that idea ya nafanya hii kuwaonyesha but still your idea ya blackness. So I tied that Jay-Z kwa story of OJ na OJ kusema I'm not black, and kuongelea how this is one black person and their interpretation of their blackness and sharing that idea as part of culture. But the obvious reference now was Kendrick on the verse 2 on the Heart Part 5 ilikuwa a reference to Jay-Z. Jay-Z on H to the Izo, B to the Ize alikuwa na a verse that inaanza na holla at me, I do this for my culture, to let them know what a nigga look like when a nigga in a roster. So ilikuwa a Jay-Z reference and alitumia now kunini OJ. So that's something that Kendrick also
Do you think he
for
needed to
culture
ask for permission to use those guys' faces?
Now faces no. Faces, that's the Marvin Gaye sample, and you have to.
Yeah, that one I know, Motown.
Faces you can just use.
Okay.
Faces.
I could judge people for using my face. Now you're telling me I can't. Okay, fine.
Haya, unaitanga mtu ameingia kwa comment aje babo?
As fuck Waithera. As fuck Waithera. Hey Sarah.
So before nimalize na Justin, Will Smith kulikuwa na hiyo concept ya hurt people. Kobe kulikuwa na venye ameput in work na amechange curriculum and sports. So kuna hiyo concept ya hard work and doing it for people, and Nipsey too finishing with a poignant and melancholic reflection at the end of song. So there is that. Now I was looking through this before I even came with Jussie Smollett's case. Kulikuwa na the Dave Chappelle beat prior or routine on stage. So I'm Aliza. The poetry and complexity. Ajamaliza. DMB usijali atajibu. Ali take notes. Worry not. Be ready for some education from Babu.
Hey Sarah. I just wanted to say I love you in case you leave before this. And I love you, Sarah.
JK, thoughts zako zimekata kumalizia. Oh, Lama is one to have players himself and is schemy like that, and that is how easy it is for one to be carried away with the poetry and complexity. So on Jussie's case, kuna again the idea of culture, and kuna a particular, what are the exact words from the lyrics here? Let me see.
What you do? Oh, love. You do everything.
Change curriculums. Hard people.
I feel like I should have
The
come
exact
with my
words,
own
but
lyrics.
kulikuwa na hiyo part kuna specific words that Jussie alisema that nani Kendrick ali quote on the verse during one of hizo cases zake. So if people do not know the story, and this is an article from LA Times that was published in November 30th, 2021, and it was updated March 11th. The Empire actor Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 5 months in jail and more than 2 years of probation on March 10th for staging an anti-gay racist attack on himself 3 years ago and lying to Chicago police about it. In December 2021, he was found guilty on 5 of 6 accounts of disorderly conduct, 1 count for each time he allegedly lied to the police in the days immediately after the alleged hate crime. The long-running case began Jan 29, 2019, the day the actor said he was a victim of an attack while walking in his affluent Chicago neighborhood. He alleged to police that on the frigid night, 2 assailants beat him, put a rope around his neck, and splashed him with a liquid. So that's just a summary of kile happened. Akawa sentenced on March 10th, na kulikuwa na those attackers walisemekana kukuwa two Nigerians. Yes, I'm 2 Nigerians. So that's just a brief of kile ili happened. And kuna specific word that alisema, that a specific sentence that Kendrick alitumia na hii idea ya I do this for you juu Jussie amejiita the gay Tupac, and kuna kitu yenye alisema akirefer to actions zake as doing it for the culture, and hiyo ndo ilikuwa how ali come in kwa, from what I interpreted, vile ali come in kwa the song. So there is that. Also nilikuwa curious regarding Mr. Kodak Black. Hiyo ilikuwa pia something that didn't take by surprise because I do not know the exact case, sikuwa na the exact details, but najua Kodak Black ni mtu amekuwa sidelined na amekuwa na issues, but sijawahi jua what the issues are because I do not listen to Kodak Black and I don't care for them like that. Similar to kuna a number of artists, especially for the current hip hop scene, who are trap artists. I just don't care about the music, na siko interested. So I don't even get deeper to vitu vile wamefanya. Najua the other one ni pia why NBA Never Broke Again, Young Boy, I think that's their name. Yeah, pia kumekuwa na cases I believe kuhusu mada, kumekuwa na kina Ghana na Young Thug. So kuna these artists and their cases, but ni mention why NBA Young Boy because of story ya watu sideline. So now with Kodak, I wasn't aware, but nilikuwa too curious since najua kuna few things that nimeona some sentiments regarding watu sideline. So I was checking this before we got on the live na nikapata some info kuhusu story yake, and so amekuwa na a number of cases, and akona a history ya criminal cases, and you can check that online, a number of them, some kuhusu some are gun related and the like. Now this one ndo hiyo sexual assault case. This is from Complex, and what this is now, I'll read a few paragraphs kutupatia an idea ya kile ili happen. On April 28th, 4 months after being granted commutation by former President Trump, Kodak Black appeared in court to face charges of rape and sexual assault stemming from a 2016 incident in South Carolina. During his court hearing, the rapper entered a plea deal, pleading guilty to a lesser charge of first-degree assault and battery in a sexual assault case involving a young woman in a hotel room. So I learned that I plead guilty to assault na battery and not hiyo case yenye alikuwa ana on the stand for. Then akasema, I apologize to Miss in brackets victim's name, and I'm hopeful we can all move forward. Kodak, whose full name is Bill Capri, said in court, I wish her the best in life. In a statement to Complex, Kodak's legal team said, today, Bill Capri took a plea to the legal charge of assault, a non-sex offense, and received 18 months probation. This was a change of charge from the original charge. Having consistently denied these 5-year-old allegations, he entered this plea in order to resolve the matter. Wednesday's hearing marks the end of a drawn-out case which Kodak was originally indicted for in 2017. Due to Kodak's long history of legal troubles and the length of this particular case, a lot of information has been left out of the conversation, and the whole thing has been especially hard to follow. And then this is a breakdown of this one specifically. What was Kodak Black accused of? Kodak was accused of assaulting and raping a female victim in South Carolina. The alleged assault took place in Feb 2016 following Kodak's performance at Treasure City Club in Florence, South Carolina. The victim said she attended the concert at Treasure City where she met Kodak Black and later accompanied the rapper to his hotel room at a Comfort Inn and Suites. She told police that he began to tear her clothes off and said he couldn't help himself as she screamed and tried to push him off her. According to police reports, she said he beat her BIT repeatedly and raped her as she screamed for help. The victim, who was reportedly a high school student at the time, told her school nurse, who alerted the Florence County Sheriff's Office. Then this other paragraph says, although the alleged assault occurred in Feb 2016, Kodak was not indicted by a grand jury until October 2017. He was indicted for first-degree criminal sexual misconduct. Of the grand jury's decision, 12th Circuit Solicitor E.D. Clements told reporters, we have to seek justice. Part of that is making sure that the defendant has their rights protected, and we are going to treat him like just we would anybody else. We are going to protect his rights and give him a fair adjudication of his charges. Then kuna those other issues there, these other legal cases, but walichukua a plea to a non-sex offense. Let me see if there's anything else you can add before tuendelee. Yes, so what happened during the 28th court date, April 28, 2021? Kodak appeared in court on the 2016 account charges of sexually assaulting a high school student after a concert. As part of a plea deal, he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of first-degree assault and battery. According to Kodak Black's attorney, he had romantic ideas on his mind. She did not. So he ended up trying to have a romantic encounter with her and beat her as part of that and injured her. When asked by the judge if the facts stated by his attorney were true, he said, yes, sir. Kodak Black also apologized to the victim, saying, I am hopeful we can all move forward. I wish her the best in life. Earlier. The public apology was a term of his plea deal. And alipata originally alikuwa na face 30 years behind bars, but due to his lower plea deal, no longer face jail time. Alipata a 10-year suspended sentence and 18 months probation, with the condition that he takes full accountability for his action and publicly apologizes, which he complied with in court. He has also been ordered to undergo further counseling. So that's hizo ndo vitu nilikuwa naangalia just to understand Kodak's inclusion, rather Kodak's the reason people wamekuwa na issues, and then pia nilikuwa kwa alive before this ya Dead and Hip Hop nimesema wakiongelea the initial reactions to the album, a lot of people were asking the team kuhusu Kodak Black. A lot of them were asking that question. So nilikuwa kusikuwa najua, I had to do homework kidogo kuangalia what is happening. Let's see if there is a comment here. Shukran sana for being here. I am here to listen to spoilers before I listen to the album. Undaka spoilers. Ungekuwa hapa Babu akitupatia submission ungepata spoilers. So JK anasema Lamar is one to have layers to himself and his music, and most of the time he will use characters like Kung Fu Kenny pale kwa Dam and K. Alia kwa career yake, na pia from Shirin, what's the name? Backseat Freestyle, yes, kwa Good Kid, Mad City, to alienate himself from the art. But in this album, even with the intro, it was like he was intentional about being vulnerable and open on some not so niche corners of his career, childhood, and marriage. That said, please
We
note
cry
that
together.
I will still
Or cry
cry
together.
together. Ooh. In my 2-week journey of deciphering all the tracks well enough before giving a well-detailed conclusion.
We will be waiting for y'all. You have to give us detailed conclusion. I don't think I'm going to do this again. I find those trainers. That's why I think African does it. I don't do it.
Yes.
I'm good with politics. This music thing inanikanganya kidogo. Inanipeleka mbio. Let me stick to politics. Yeah.
za mziki na sanaa.
Za mziki ni waachana sana. Let you guys, mi nitakuja tu kusema kama Sanaa kwa Sanaa imesema uwezi, tunatii. Kama Sanaa kwa Sanaa haijatii, mimi niko nje. I'm not listening to you. That's all. That's my contribution to the entire conversation.
You're saving your time.
Please. Why would I do that to myself after you've said that no? They don't make sense. Why?
We've done that for you. So JK, ukimaliza your breakdown, feel free kuduka kwa DM, unipatie thoughts zako, and then whenever you do that, whichever live session it precede, I'll come here and read your sentiments. Hata kama utakuwa, just know I'll do that. So feel free, tafadhali, feel free. So now I'll get to Auntie Diaries before Babu atupatie submission yake finally. This track has a lot to unpack, and I am glad that Babu came through akatusaidia ku unpack that song a lot. And that was an amazing submission, and the perspectives that you may share na feel ni critical kwa e discussion, and I'm sure the discourse surrounding Auntie Diaries will continue for such a long time. Again, I think similar to the conversations that Kendrick presented kwa My Heart Part 5, the moment I had My Heart Part 5 nilisema only Kendrick can do such a thing. I also do think that such songs can only be created by Kendrick. Yani going into these sort of discussions and conversations, as atakapo alisema, maybe ni yeye kushare story yake, yeye ndo anaweza fanya such kinds of songs. And kuna a lot of perspective, as I said, for hii album. Kuna a lot of vulnerability.
Yes.
As DMB alitaja, and the only, one of the perspectives I remember I saw before listening to the album, ni kuna msa alisema, I think ilikuwa possibly Tra alisema, this is Kendrick Lamar's 444. That coming of age album, personal, vulnerable, messy, very murky, dealing with a lot of trauma and personal issues, points of conflicts within yourself, a lot of that. Kama ni relationships, the same thing. And there's a lot of that, and only so because nilikuwa nafikiria peers wake, kina Drake, kina J. Cole, ama mates wake from TDE, kina Absol,
They
kina
could
Small,
never.
they cannot
Okay.
do this.
I know I'm not a fan anymore, but I know they could never.
That's the same thing wanasema, they could never. They literally can never. So there is that. JK anaishia
Jekyll, I thought we stole you from capitalism. Ndugu, I didn't. Even my love for you can't do this. No. JK, thank you so much for joining us.
Astalipia JK bills. Easy conversation.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, asante sana JK. Amesema great. I'll be sure to do that. And with that, good vibes to you all. Got to bail. I have work later on today at daybreak. Again, fruitful conversation we've had here. Thank you, JK, for joining and for following us. Asante sana for your input too. DMB anakuchocha, anasema Babu, kwa sababu the music, your breakdown is very different from Sanaa. Sanaa, which brings a different perspective away from the art. And if DMB, if ungekuwa hapa kwa our conversations on MWE, which nakwambia you should check out, iko hapa on IG, iko pia on YouTube.
No,
Babu has
DMB,
always, and utapata response yake.
Ameni hype. Can you just let me have the moment? You're rushing this. I'm trying to sit in the moment. Why are you rushing this? Why are you rushing this? Where are you going to? I thought we are defunding capitalism. Not from DMB though.
I thought umezoea compliment.
Not from DMB though. Yeah.
JK anasema I work for myself.
Please.
You work for yourself within a capitalistic system.
JK, by all means,
run away from the
go secure that bag. Go secure that bag. We bless you. For today, we bless you. We bless that journey.
The bag. It's always about the bag.
Yeah. Bye, Sarah.
Hey, okay. Watu wako na tu mashughuli. Si ndio hatuna form babu. Si hatuna life.
Which is a very good thing. Hey, that's a very good thing. We are working on their arts. Wakuja tu watulete pesa wabai nini tickets za show.
So Aidera pia amesema good morning yo, I have an early morning, takuja kumaliza baadaye. Blessed loves, thank you so much Aidera kwa kuwa hapa. Asante sana.
Asante sana for joining us.
For sure. Kile nilikuwa nasema as Babu was really sharing the moment ya kusifiwa na Mujera ni that kama uliwatch our conversation kuhusu MWE and how Babu approaches listening to music, uta understand views zake, na amesema yeye ni mtu wa politics sana, ametuachia. And alisema pia kwa hiyo discussion ya MWE that how sisi view the art na with our criteria, yeye haezi tumia tu hizo approaches, na yeye ata get into politics za the artist, and yeye haezi kaa na aseme now ana-view vitu tofauti. So ata get into that pia akidiscuss the art and the artist na story ya cancel culture. So DMB kuwa ready for that, to understand where Babu is coming from, na it's a critical view to have. So nilikuwa nasema Auntie Diaries is layered and only Kendrick. The rest can never. They could never do this. So listening to the track, ilikuwa interesting to get to understand, kusikia this story. We've never had this story from Kendrick for his previous song, and also we've not known a lot of sides za Kendrick on these albums ile ameshare before. The other albums imekuwa different perspectives and different views and different stories. This was a very personal album, and so listening to Auntie Diaries, I think ndio what niambia alikuwa anasema hiyo ngoma on 444 ya Jay-Z kuhusu madhake, ndio maybe the same sort of framework walikuwa na operate on, but Kendrick approach completely differently as Kendrick Lamar would, na tumeget kusikia views za Babu kuhusu the approach here, the writing, the mispronouncing, and how una depict the people unaongelea, idea za pronouns, idea za gender expression, ideas za transness. So kuna layers to this conversation. Ndio maana nimesema this will be dissected a lot moving forward, and even very many years from now that will be the case. So Kendrick is one person that has kuna a lot of perspectives to this, and the more I'll get into this album, because I know the lyrics, the more I'll get to this album, the more I'll sit with the songs and nijaribu to understand deeper. If you listen to Kendrick Lamar's songs, for different verses or different lines, atajiposition maybe as different characters, as different personalities in different times. Yes. So listening to his songs, you have to have that in mind. Ujue, okay, hii time anaongea na hii voice. Ngoma nilitaja earlier nini Backseat Freestyle on Good Kid, Mad City. Hiyo ngoma akisema all my life I want money and power, respect my time from lead showers. I pray my dick get big as the Eiffel Tower so I can fuck the world for 72 hours. That song for your album ni Kendrick going back to his mentality akiwa 16, 17. If you listen to Fear on Dam, I remember I once broke this down nikashare na DMV, I think tukiwa na Neo Fear, that on Fear Kendrick anaongea na 3 perspectives. Verse 1 ni yeye akiwa 7 years old, verse 2 akiwa 17. Verse 1 madhake anamwambia usikuje kwa nyumba with your sneakers dirty, I'll beat you if you still sitting here lazily. Verse 2 ni yeye akiwa 17 and fear za kukufa because amevaa the wrong color, fear za kukufa kwa a house by the corner jamenunua weed, and hizi ni za teenagers and getting into gang na crime. I'm happening to fall victim of a situation. It happens na black men in America. Then verse 2, the last verse, anaongea akiwa 27 na ameget to this age, anafikiria kuhusu career yake, anafikiria kuhusu pesa and getting rich and getting wealthy, and I refer to Rihanna because I think kulikuwa na Amani situation, and anasema I would want to know how the bad girl felt when she checked her account. Kulikuwa na an issue na money. And then another layer was the next song, I think ilikuwa Loyalty featuring Rihanna, or the song before ama somewhere before for the album. So kuna these different perspectives that ana share. So nikisikiza this song nilikuwa nafikiria hivyo, sijui if juu part of me now na feel ni kama alikuwa ana try, or the intention ni taking us back to perspective zake akiwa young, and Babu alitaja, and then again kuna the now. So kuna this past and kuna the now, and nilikuwa nafikiria Babu alisema that Kendrick akona the capacity. So sijui how this goes. I'm thinking, so if I know better now, then I will give people the respect they deserve and use the pronouns that they want and use their names currently. And then kuna hii perspective ya, so I was young, I did not know better, na sikuwa najua kile ina happen. So how do I juxtapose these two, and how do I go about presenting easy views then and easy views now? And if I title this Uncle Diaries, what happens? If I title this Uncle Diaries and then keep the content as is, does it change? If I keep this Auntie Diaries and change the verses, does it change? So kuna number of things that nimefikiria going through listening to your submissions, and the more I listen to it here, get deeper into that. Kitu nilinotice ni kwa the first verses alikuwa anatumia the F slur ama alikuwa anatumia fagot, hatukuisema tena IG, SG, but this will be censored on YouTube. the video might be broken down actually. Just speaking. Yeah, but that's true. So kuna the F slap that anatumia kwa the first verses. So something I noticed ni when anafika kwa the last verse ni before amalize the verse. Of course, now to get kuna third verse where I introduce Demetrius after kuongelea uncle yake for the previous two verses. I introduce Dimitri, I introduce Marianne, and I introduce Marianne kwa the ending of verse 2. Akisema my auntie was a man now. We cool with it. The history had trickled down and made us ignorant. I'm butchering the cadence here. My favorite cousin said he's returning the favor and following my auntie with the same behavior. Then now verse 3, Demetrius is married and now he's more confident to leave his plan now. But the family in disbelief this time, convincing themselves he ain't living discreet, he's fine. Then anasema they said they never seen it in him, but I seen it. The Barbie dolls played more reflection of Venus and anaendelea. So, and how they used the F slur. He didn't laugh as hard when the kids started joking. F, 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 he didn't know no better. Middle school kids, no filter. However, I had to be very mindful of my good cousin. I knew exactly who he was, but I still loved him. So listening to this, now this is him taking us back to middle school and how we were to read. And he's maybe there as then, viewing Demetrius, viewing Mary Ann as Demetrius then, even though nilikuwa na feel. But again, for the same verse, that's a different verse actually. For the following verse, the previous verse, the previous verse 2 was, I think I'm old enough to understand now, ikihusu anko yake. For Mary Ann, it comes kwa yeye kujua, akisema but I still love him. And then kwa the fourth verse, akiongelea remember church, Easter Sunday, and bringing in the religious institutes. And we do know, you and I know, how bigoted Christianity is and religions are. And the idea love thy neighbor, the idea love people, how that is very faulty and how they preach it, but the acting a completely different thing. And the world and this country is an example. The violence that they do speaks for itself. So kile nilikuwa nasema nikimaliza ni the fourth verse. Kendrick bring in Christianity na anasema I sat in the pew, you had stronger faith. Most spiritual on these pews were living life straight. Which I found ironic, because the pastor didn't see him the same. He said my cousin was going through some things. So up until this point, now this is back in the day, and Mary Ann as Demetrius as compared to Mary Ann being Mary Ann, who's now Jonathan. This is what, even though ilikuwa kwa hiyo situation, viewing my cousin as a he, then anasema, he said my cousin was going through some things. He promised the world we're living in was an act of abomination, and Demetrius was to blame. Again, quoting the pastor and the time then. I knew he was conflicted by the feelings of preacher man, wondered if God still called you a decent man, still found you, till you found the courage to be subservient just to anoint, until he singled you out to prove his point, saying, Demetrius is Marianne now, church, his auntie is a man now. It hurt you the most. It hurt you the most because your belief was close to his words, forcing me to stand now. I said, Mr. Preacher Man, should we love thy neighbor? The laws of the land or the heart, what's greater? I love that line. The laws of the land or the heart, what's greater? I recognize the study she was taught, but so now kuna she, but that doesn't justify the feeling that my cousin deserved. The building was thinking out loud, bad angel. That's when you looked at me and smiled, said thank you. The day I chose humanity over religion, the family got closer. It was all forgiven. I said then, them F-bombs. I ain't know any better. Mistakenly, I ain't think that you know any different. See, I was taught words was nothing more than a sound, if ever there was pronounced without any intentions. The very second you challenged the shit I was kicking reminded me about a show I did out in the city. That time I brought a fan on stage to rap, but disproved the word that you couldn't say with me. You said, Kendrick, ain't no room for contradiction. To truly understand love, switch position. F, 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 we can say it together, but only if you let a white girl say nigga. That is the fourth and final verse on Auntie Diaries. My point was when Kendrick now to me switched to the last verse and reflect on this situation of a church and the pastor saying your cousin has a problem. And obviously, Shasema, this is a religious institution, this is a religious figure, and kuna hiyo bigotry in religion, something
Yep.
that foster love, na respect, na dignity, and that's what Kendrick is doing here, and it's something that hata unintentionally, hata kajifanya hivyo, we know this happens in churches.
Yep.
Now, what I was saying, as this is happening, and this moment here, Kendrick will put the pastor on the spot, kumuuliza swali kama tufai kupenda thy neighbor na laws of the land of the heart can be greater. What happens ni, after the family we get closer and alikuwa forgiven, I observed the change in perspective. To now, hasemi the word anymore as compared to earlier, present as his younger self. Now, anasema, I said them F-bombs. So for me, that is going to signify that transition.
Yeah.
Kutoka from place alikuwa, and now anasema, I said them F-bombs as compared to earlier verses, akitupeleka back to middle school and the like. And now, so possibly, I don't know if Babu, you know the story, but when I heard it, I just stopped the song because it gave me, so kuna a lot of things happening. One, ulisema very well that your F, 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 and you can say it together. There's a way ulieka together with saying the N word, kusema nigga, and what that represents and the implications. So for me, the first time nilisikia, it took me back to that show, and I actually had missed your reference to the
Bambi
show.
is actually the one who told me about the show. I didn't know about the show. Bambi is the one who told me about the show.
So mimi hata before sasa alimention nikisikia siku I must have missed that, but nilisikia kuzi wake anamwambia Ken hakuna contradiction, and hiyo nini ya you can say it together, and for me as kile tu ulisema ni you won't let white people say the N-word. And so also similarly, because the cousin I'm put in a position, I'm just and I make Kendrick realize that this us allowing you to say this word can't happen. You don't understand the history behind it, and this being a slur and an anti-gay slur. And so the cousin bringing that perspective towards the end and challenging even Kendrick Lamar and leaving the track at that point was also a smart thing to do.
Yes.
Because it makes us think about kile
Very.
so hatuwezi allow watu waseme nigga, now white people waseme nigga, kuna a history. So okay, na si ati wakisema tukiwalao ati it's right, hapana. Similarly, we sema the F's la hata kama tukiwalao na pia imaanishi ni right, kuna a history behind it. So
Yeah.
cousin saying that and putting Kendrick on the spot and Kendrick telling this story in this way was smart. And I paused the song, I think, and then I immediately remembered that show because I know about the show. And your show when Kendrick was performing in April of May of 2018, and I was perform Mad City from Good Kid, Mad City. And if you listen to that song in Akonga, 10 when you're down, nigga, this my city, run my nigga, and it's nigga after every nigga after Ali perform, and Ali bring this white girl on stage who said nigga. It caused chaos. It caused chaos for your show now on the internet because I say because Kendrick have proposed the music akamwambia no huwezi sema hiyo word kama intro.
But he also set up that woman because the song you say nigga the most is the one you brought the white woman on for. That's a setup.
So and then because huyu nini, the lady asked Kendrick a question. Let me quote that for you. So after that happened, because crowd really react, the crowd reacted. Then Kendrick akamwambia, yo, you have to bleep one single word. And because part of the arguments after that happened was Kendrick only stopped because people reacted, but otherwise
Would have
angeacha,
continued.
which also speaks about power, power ya words, something that also thought about with hiyo nini ya the F slap or the previous, that alifunzwa words and sounds bila intentions kitu ka hiyo. Yeah. Then she realized she appeared not to realize why she had been stopped and asked, am I not cool enough for you, bro? I remember I saw this clip on YouTube. Then the crowd started booing on hearing the woman saying the racial slur. She apologized, saying, oh, I'm sorry, did I do it? Kendrick then asked the audience if she could be given another try, and despite many shouting no, Kendrick allowed her a second chance at the song.
His thing with second chances. His thing with second chances.
For sure. He does. Yeah, he does. Even kwa nini, for the heart, the Nipsey part, that thought too, that run. And then, so alimpea kuimba again na akiblik the word. So when I heard that, it took me to history at the show. I remembered seeing those videos and those discussions online. And I remembered, okay, because wake on the spot, huwezi fanya hivi na kuna a history and an intricate situation happening with the F slap and with nigga. Then the next song, even before Niende Father, Ali bring up, ama kulikuwa na a connection between that and the next song after Auntie Diaries. Let me see what the next song found. Yes, Mr. Moral. Mr. Moral gets deeper into those discussions, but it was interesting how that was the closer, that particular song. It brings about various issues and a number of perspectives regarding discussion ya ingoma, regarding transness, regarding representation, a lot. So yes, hizo zilikuwa a number of thoughts, and before Babu atumalizie on now, before releasing this stuff, something nilikuwa nakisema na possibility ya kuficha a trans artist, kama ni kuimba, kama ni rapa, nilikuwa nafikiria about the same. One, for Black Hat, I saw something saying that Nipsey's wife ali-upload Kendrick Lamar for how for huyo part yake for the Heart Part 5. I don't think that Ali will play the song prior. I really don't think Kendrick is that type of person. I'm
No,
sure
he's not.
Release stuff.
He doesn't care.
Very, very closed in. But so I saw Nipsey, wife wake akisema akimlog. Now, for this song, nilikuwa nafikiria, did he play the song for the cousin and for the uncle?
Did he even have a conversation with them?
Here, or
Did he even have a conversation with them and
yes,
get their consent to blast their lives like that?
No, me gonna in terms of just having conversations regarding the topic at large. The topic at large.
Yeah.
And then kuuliza kama aliongea nao, kuambia ametell this story, something along those lines. Ama ye kuwa play the song, kuuliza if they're okay with the song and the depictions. Because I've thought about that. And I've thought about if I'm doing such a creation, I've thought about it, that kuna ideas I do have.
Yeah.
And I've told myself the human that is Babu will be part of this. Before this goes out, this is something critical. I need you. unajua kuisikie and we have a discussion around everything regarding this piece of work before itoke. So sijui if that happened, but nilifikiria, and then how wife wa Nipsey alimpiga for what alifanya for the heart. I do not know how this one has gone with the family. Uli mention kuna an interview amefanya. Did you
About
mention something of the
this,
sort?
no,
Or
what has been
this
there are
one?
just like snippets of things. Like you see the way artists have creative processes and all that. It's just been snippets of things, and nothing has come officially from Lamar. It's been fan bases and the way they always have their PR playing around with fan bases. So a fan will be releasing something, or yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay. Unajua akifanya interview itakuwa kitu itaulizwa sana. So DMB alia alikuwa amesema viva hatujengi na tupaki rangi nchi. Hiyo conversation tulihave kuhusu the whole damn album nilifanya, nikaanza kurealize the greatness of Kendrick Lamar. I think ilikuwa Alchemist, yes, nipitia Alchemist na hiyo siku after kufika home niliweka damu kuisikiza tena with fresh ears. You're welcome man. Ushaambiwa na Babu, hii Sanaa tuachie politics ndio staple ya our dear humour. And then hiyo ndio
Mimi
Babu, don't give people second chances. So this last question is a simpler one as compared to the other point. So start na hii alafu peleke back.
Yeah. So first, I give people second chances, third chances, fourth chances, however many chances you need to redeem yourself as a human being. I'll give you as many chances as you need. The thing is, when someone fumbles, I take a step back so that in case it's your humanity that you're figuring out, it doesn't fuck up with mine. That's all. I'm not even the throw stone person. I don't throw stones. I'll want to discuss it. I'll want to talk about it. Africa knows this, and I think Viva is also still here, knows this. I talk with my people a lot, mostly if I share community with you and all that. In terms of accountability, we all know, like, we fuck up all the time. So I sit down with my people and we discuss it. What makes me give Kendrick Lamar side eye? Even the time I thought that he would be repentant, can I say that? Or he would want to talk about the change of his views, like he's done in Auntie Diaries, is the people who surround him, the people who say he's tight with, are actually people who are repeat offenders. I know that I'm counting. Let me not say I'm not counting. I'm counting. I keep scores. So they're repeat offenders. They're people who are not apologetic about how they harm people that they consider not worth keeping their integrity for. And you know, that's what happens with power. When I feel I'm powerful, I'll punch down to the people. Like when I need my frustrations out, instead of finding an outlet, I punch down to the people that punching down to won't cause any kind of backlash or make me be at a place where I have to justify my actions. And so if those are the people around him, meaning he won't ever see what he's done wrong. And if he won't ever see what he's done wrong, he's bound to fuck up another person's humanity. And I'm just making sure it's not mine. So I stayed away. So I give people as many chances as you need. Those chances, you might just not experience them around me. I'll support it, but I'll not be around for you to fail on. Yeah. And I respect people's humanities. I would love to let people make their own mistakes and correct their own mistakes as they go. I would love that. So I don't want to dictate people's processes of doing that. What I'll keep doing is saying if you're still fucking people over. That's all. But any other thing, do you get there? The Erykah Badu, now I go back to what you asked me, Erykah Badu, Kendrick Lamar, and TDE's entire R. Kelly thing came out because Spotify was trying to explain why they were not able to, why they were delaying in pulling down R. Kelly's thing. And if you look at it, there are articles that were written about it. That's the interesting thing. Kendrick also doesn't do a lot of interviews, except he doesn't do, he's like Nash in Kenya, doesn't do a lot of interviews, doesn't show up everywhere. Nash is about making himself scarce. Kendrick is because I don't think Kendrick ever wants conversations. Kendrick just wants, if you ask him a question, I think he will give you an album and like, listen, you'll find your answer in there. And then go on with this. Like, he doesn't look like he wants to have a discussion. So they didn't have a lot of that. But that time they were agreeing with each other with what has happened. I think the light really waited for us until it gave up on me. They were really like agreeing with each other in terms of how black men are punished and talking about R. Kelly and discussing it. Really, the way they talked about it, it's like they took out his harmful behavior and replaced it with his blackness, which is not interchangeable. His blackness is sovereign. His harmful behaviors are. Like, he's black and is harmful. His blackness can't cover his harmful behavior. And I realize that that is the one thing we find so hard to discuss. We don't like discussing, what is it always called? Complexity. We don't like complex situations. We want to have one lens of dealing with things. That in that moment, we could have talked about incarceration, blackness, the prison industrial complex and how it affects blackness, how policing affects blackness, and still held R. Kelly accountable. It was all that could have happened all at the same time. But we never want to deal in that. We only want to deal in one. Like, only one thing in this moment makes sense, and that is the one thing that we go with. And that time they chose to focus on R. Kelly's blackness, ignoring the so many people. Erykah Badu talking about how black men are vilified, and I was, yes, but R. Kelly, an entire industry watched R. Kelly marry a 15-year-old, and we want to talk about black men are vilified now? I don't know. We can hold a lot of opinions at the same time. Like, we are grown, we can do it. But I found it so lazy. The same way I just wrote it down, like when you're talking, was the way Auntie Diaries was handled lazy, or just an artist being so artistic that they lose the plot. I don't know what to think about it, but that could be where we are headed to now. Then cancel culture. First, I do not think cancel culture exists. Why? Because cancel culture, I would love to rename it as accountability culture, where you're held accountable. But how do you hold people in power accountable? They have more resources than you. They own the courts. They own whatever. You resort to shaming them and boycotting them. That's what people have always resorted to. Cancel culture is not new. Someone the other day was talking about cancel culture happened even in all those traditions. People are getting excommunicated. What do you think that was? That was cancel culture. People got, oh, you did this, you don't belong to this community anymore, go live in the bush. Like, what was that about? That's cancel culture. But for me, it's about accountability. The only way to hold famous people accountable is to shame them in public, is to snitch on them, is to bully. And I use bully in all the full sense of it, is to bully the people who keep their power running. And keeping power running goes to social power and economic power. So if they are supported, like what DaBaby did, when DaBaby, people went to all his sponsors, the people he had partnerships with, whatever, everything, and told them, like, yo, the person you support talks trash about HIV people, talks trash about queer people. Like that motherfucker you were dealing with tried to kiss a woman like we were seeing forcibly. Are you guys down with such a thing? And because we know they don't want that kind of backlash and they don't want to deal with us, they will do it. It's using capitalism against itself. For me, that is what it is. Sheffy says something stupid, we go and ask his radio station to pull him out and doesn't do it. And we go to ABL and we're like, we had your advert at that place. Are you down with what Shafi said? Are you telling us that? Huh? Then we go to Safaricom. Did you hear what Shafi said? And what are you doing? And when they say they've pulled down their ads, which we know is the most revenue that that radio station gets, now the radio station has to fire Shafi. And in his firing, they have to still settle down with him because they fired him wrongfully. You get it? So now it's capitalism eating itself up. But we got that to be achieved. It's not the best way, but it happens. So for me, cancel culture is about accountability. It exists. But again, it doesn't exist because when people get cancelled, they just go and rebrand and come back. They never go anywhere. They rebrand and come back because that's how the system works, controversy and all that. We were canceling Spotify the other day because of that guy, and then they got to at last pull him down, right? And then another place bought him for more money than Spotify did. See? Just rebrand.
We didn't even know that happened. It happened.
Yeah. They got to pull him down at last. They did. Because white people started leaving Spotify, and white people is the biggest revenue that Spotify has. So, and I think the people who bought him could have even been YouTube. I'm not sure. Like, there's a place that bought him. There's a place that bought him, and they bought him for more. And that's the interesting part. That then, if cancel culture was true, that guy would not have gone anywhere. So, and then what DMB asked, arts and artists. I personally do not separate the art from the artist. I don't think we should separate the art from the artist. And I'm going to keep it to the conversations we've had today. One of the places that I'm going to go to, and today we're going to have this, that if his name gets flagged on YouTube, this video of yours is not going to survive on YouTube. R. Kelly, again. Most of R. Kelly's songs were inspired by the people R. Kelly abused. R. Kelly says his muses, and you know, he got comfortable enough to say his muses were children, little girls. R. Kelly would leave someone when they turned 17. He liked them young. And he would say his muse. His last album was literally called I'm Coming Out of the Closet. That was the name of the album, right? And
I have no idea.
oh yeah, that was the name of the last album. The album that got people to start, oh, could these people have been saying the truth? But that album happened when R. Kelly now started preying on little boys. He was done with the girls, now he was coming for the boys. Most of his songs came from that inspiration. In this moment, you tell me I separate the art from the artist. You can imagine how many songs that belong to R. Kelly that you sing that were actually him, trigger warning, him talking while fondling a child, or him doing it when at home there is a 15-year-old waiting for him. Who does the mother doesn't even know where she is at. Yeah. So are we still separating the artist from the art? And what does that look like? We are all artists here. Most of our creations are inspired from our lived experiences. Artists are the people who earn money by telling you what is happening in their lives, and then you give them money. So right now, if I was to beat my partner up and I talk about being a rageful person who does this, who does that, who does this. And you guys are like, yay. And I come back again and I beat up. And then next time again, I tell you, oh yeah, this is the kind of person that I am. I'll only speak all that thing Christians say, out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaketh. That is artistry. I don't separate them because artists only speak from their lived experiences. And when we talk about things like politics, the political is personal and the personal is political. I don't think in this age that we are at, you can say, I'm apolitical. You are a political human being, because if you were apolitical, you could have opted out. But the fact that you can't opt out is also a political thing. Like, we could opt out of not paying taxes. I, for one, would love that. Considering this country, I have to gawa pesa na hii gawa 50-50. Yeah, you guys pay 16%, whatever. I pay 50% tax. Gawa. And tell them, like, I'm opting out, like, I'm not kwa hii nini mudi yenyu. Kenyans would have opted out of this country if it wasn't political to just move to another country and stay there. You see, it's you to your personal last details of life. JK telling us that, oh, I'm self-employed, but he's self-employed in a capitalistic system, meaning he still has to show up for work tomorrow, or he doesn't have rent, or he doesn't have food. It is personal, yet it is very political. It is influenced by the politics of the day. And that's why before I listen to an artist, I love to know their politics. I don't even like regrets on that. That is the one part of listening to art that I don't compromise on. I go check out all their interviews, their political stance, the people they associate with, then delve into their art. Why? Because in that moment, I'll know exactly what I'm getting myself into. If I'm going to listen to them and then I'm going to find them saying F sla, F sla, F sla, I know, like, I wasn't shocked that Kendrick did that. It's only Kendrick. Kendrick, definitely, Kendrick would do that. And why? Because now I know his politics. I know where he stands. No matter what he says, I know where he stands. I know to him, freedom of people is freedom of black men. I know that. I know that. Like, freedom to him is freedom of black men. And knowing that gives me peace, because now I know that where I'm engaging him from. And so the art can't be separated from the artist. However much artists want to say, that was me on stage and then this is me, I need you to look at the songs that artists who've been accused of violence towards people, their songs, how they sound like. We talk about Chris Brown and Rihanna, but does everyone know that every ex of Chris Brown has a restraining order against him? And when you look at his songs, you understand where restraining orders are coming from. Like, it doesn't shock you that there is a restraining order against someone, like the things he says in his songs, and you just know. So artists, yeah. And then also when artists become famous, and this is specifically for famous artists, when they become famous, they get something called a social capital. That social capital is why we never believed they're victims. Because they become famous, they're people they've helped along the way. And the people they've helped see them as good people. But the people they've abused can't now be heard, because the people who see them as good people will keep saying, but they didn't do that to me. But they were nice to me. They paid my rent. They did this. They did that. Yet their victims are languishing, and everyone is like, oh, but we were free, or I always hung out with them and they were always nice to me. There were people who say that about R. Kelly. There were people who even say that about Trey Songz. Trey Songz, people just started taking his abuse seriously because he abused a white woman. And that's why most abusers abuse black women, because there is no agency. So, again, artistry is such a big social capital that mimi mafans wangu ni ka 200. I think those are the sure ones I'm sure of. I have like 200 fans. One thing I know, every time someone ever says anything about me, when those guys get to a space, they'll defend me. Most you'll find the person saying something about me. If I abuse someone and they said I abuse them, it's the truth and they're right. But my people will be like, Babo, where ya? How? What were you doing? What did you do to deserve this? Lord, I kick people for a living. I kicked someone's face. What did they do to deserve it? Doesn't matter. I did it. So my social capital will defend me. And people hide in their social capital. Bill Cosby, same thing. Social capital. People believe him because there were people he handled with care. And then there are the others that when he got to, he abused. So what happens now? And
Also, Babu kidogo tu nakumbuka pia just on this same kuna time kulikuwa na ile story ya abuse in workspaces that came out a few months back. I think Akome, with their full name, would share experience here working at Capitol and how Miss Mandy aliwa mistreat na alikuwa na abuse co-workers.
yes.
Then kuna Wakenya niliona prominent Kenyans kwa comment section ya Miss Mandy, and I think I saw Anyiko was one of them. I saw MBQ on that comment section. I think when I saw MBQ, it reminded me of ile story ya nani ya Jazz Odongo.
And what people's politics never lie. People's politics don't lie. That's all I trust. Your politics. Then I move.
It just reminded me of that situation. And na tunaunderstand, even Babu amesema that the thing ni people wako na chances za kureform na kugrow, definitely hatukatai. Also kulikuwa na comment ya Caroline Mutoko akisema leave people alone, pia alisema hivyo, and you can tell
and Caroline Mutoko also has a history of abusing people at workplaces. Yes. So definitely should defend someone who's abused people at workplaces. She'd do it.
So in as much as hiyo post ya Mandy kusema nimegrow, nimechange, hakukuwa na an outright candid apology for that.
Nothing.
So that was one thing. The other thing ni hata kama kuna your friends, Babu amesema kuna social capital that you get, and also kuna personal friendships and relationships that also comes in. Na yes, naweza kuwa najua Babu as someone completely different. This in any way does not haimanishi that hukufanya these atrocious things to someone else just because I know you as a good person.
That's a good person. And what's even a good person?
Experience ya huyo mtu mwingine just because unanijua na njia moja haimanishi kufanya hizi vitu. Again, saying these things, as Babu has said, are mutually exclusive. They can both exist. Unaweza kuwa inakuja as a good person, but uliabuse watu, ulifanya your workers shit stuff. So that is one thing that we are here. Unaweza endelea, Babu.
Yeah, and so that's why we are refusing this separating art from artists. And artists get revenues from their arts. You could imagine right now if like they left R. Kelly's music to continue. Part of the ways R. Kelly would be able to avoid all these cases was he was paying people off. And when they froze his bank accounts is when there were witnesses enough to even put him behind bars. They didn't have anything of that sort at that time. And do you know why Bill Cosby is not behind bars? Because Bill Cosby, when he confessed, he's out on a technicality. When he confessed on an NDA. non-disclosure agreement with the cops. And then the cops used the non-disclosure agreement in court because the cops wanted to close this case fast. So they didn't do any kind of due diligence. And so his victims didn't get any kind of justice. In this moment, I think, DMB, you understand why we should never ever use that thing of I'm an artist and then this is me as whatever. Like, there is no difference. Your art is who you are and you are what your art is. Timothy, that his politics aligns with his art completely. I think that's why I never have a problem with him. He's always my best example. Like, Timothy, that politics. And I've sat around him enough to know, like, oh Lord, Lord, his politics are exactly what his music talks about and exactly how he lives his life. And same to so many artists, yet when they come to meet their fans, they really want to look like, oh, woke, oh, we are against this system. And I'd be like, are you against this system in the way that you live? You look at someone's politics and the way they live, and then what they create, you can make very informed choices. And then you go mind your business. Like, for me, that's how I do it. Like, I just check. These guys kept laughing how they were suffering through MWE. And I told them, with me, I don't suffer stupidity. I do not suffer stupidity. I go check artist interviews. I'm a babe. I'm baby. Please handle me like baby. I go and I check people's interviews. I check articles about them, things they've written, things they've engaged in before. Then I listen to their work. If I do not align at any point, one thing I've learned is I have a choice. There's so many artists. There was this thing African did where he was like, too much content. There's so much content. There's so many artists I might die without even ever knowing. Why would I suffer this one person who's making my asses inflamed day in, day out? No. And that's, I think, because I was such a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar, there was a time I even had his vinyl. Yeah, like, moving away from that, I think is how I even dropped out of being in people's fan bases, because I realized, wow, the people I loved were actually, and mostly that goes to Black men, the art they create, the way they talk, the way they push, is they push for Black men, which is not wrong, but I wish they just told us. Instead of saying, I'm defending human rights, you should have just said, I'm defending human rights specifically of Black men. And I would want them to be viewed.
As we even discussed the live mlikuwa nayo earlier, yeah, nini, what is it? Ida Hobbit, yes. That with that, and which is fine. Whoever we are and our personal life experiences zina influence our views kuhusu maisha, and that might come in na blind spots nyingi sana. So yeye as a Black man, hiyo ndio view yake na vitu preoccupied nazo. Who Babu is as a queer trans and binary person, that can influence who Babu is na politics zake, and you can see that in their work, in their reflection, you can see that. So,
and how I even engage with people.
So, yes, definitely. Nilisema kuhusu timi na how music yake ina reflect politics zake, ili nikumbusha Future. I don't listen to Future, but nilikuwa naona a review on Dead and Hip Hop kuhusu album ya latest, I Never Liked You, and one of the comments by the team ilikuwa that if you listen to Future's music, anaimba about how anatreat women, how sijui anampack mademo ngapi, that if you even listen to him on interviews zake, that this is exactly him.
That's the person he lives as.
One person. So,
you realize would be quite wild people to go to Future expecting anything different, but that's the person he lives as every day. That's the person he preaches for. And he's reaching out to his community of people who are like him. Those are the people he's reaching out to. So expecting a political piece from Future will be very wild of us. But expecting a political piece from someone like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, who have positioned themselves and said that's what they're doing, is very on brand, because you told us this is what you do. You live around us like this is what you are about. JK was talking about this is the part where Kendrick exposed the not so neat parts of his life. And so for me, I'm like, when you expose that, there's a way you do it. Maybe my artistry is just different, but there's a way you expose that. I'm not saying you crisis manage the entire exposure. What I'm saying is there's a way you leave that with knowing that there are people who first are going to find this out for the first time, right? And then there are people who live those lives. Mostly when you're not talking about your personal experience, you're talking about how you influenced other people's personal experiences. That when you're going to come out and say, at one point of my life, I was an abuser, you can't just say it, because that one it's not like saying you're suicidal, man. It's different. That is about you, and you get to control how you're moving. If you are still suicidal, or if it stopped, whatever you did to make it stop, like that changes. But how you're doing it, and that I even wrote down here the references and how he was using his references, that the Heart Part 5 was, I know it's not part of the album, but was going to be my best part of this. And maybe I'll need to listen to it more, because I noticed that like he would say different things these guys said at different points. And what kept me was, why these particular people? Why these particular people? Like for me, I know that is not a decision he made out of nowhere. That is a decision that was very informed. He sat down. I know the creating process, Lord. You sit down and you write. He might have had 50 people that he wanted to be the people he morphs into and say what they've said. A lot of people have said sound bites. So if it was about sound bites, he could have gone with Malcolm X, right? Who was also assassinated. Martin Luther, not that I support Martin Luther. I think Kendrick looks more like a Malcolm X than a Martin Luther, but
Your friend MLK.
no. He had Martin Luther. He had like Rosa Parks. He had like Assata Shakur. He could have gone with anyone, but he chose these particular 6 people. I would have wanted to know the process that led to that. Maybe we might never ever know the process that led to that. We don't have a history of Kendrick explaining his pieces to that. Like he'll just say how personal this was and all that, like keep it to some deep stuff, which also is the same thing with J. Cole, like make it sound deep, which is true. It's deep. It influences and affects people's lives, but we'd want to know how you got there. So that, and then I would love to know what the change and reforms look like. I really would love to know what Kendrick's politics out of music look like, because he says in music is where he says what he can't just say. I would love him to talk to us about his actual politics, because the last time J. Cole was sat down by No Name to talk about his politics, motherfucker fumbled like no one's business. He fumbled. We don't know. Like that was when he admitted that he doesn't read. He doesn't need to read. But to create some type of analysis, you need to read. It's not something you can run away from. You can't just say, I don't read. and then we will leave you. Where do you get your analysis from? Your lived experience, but do you know there's something bigger than your lived experience? Because even you are a black man, but next to another black man, your lived experiences are very different. And so if you say you're talking for all black men, you're speaking out of your ass then, unless you read. You can't base it off also their interaction. You have to see analysis of how this system influences people, where this comes from. So analysis, unless you want to, you can time travel through history. That's the only time you tell me I don't read. I just talk to people. Okay, then you time travel through history, figuring out at different points of this life how this system looked like, how it influenced, how we got to be the way we are. No, you didn't. So meaning you needed to read to just find out. And that's it. And we cry together is trauma bonding. Okay, fine. I need to leave Kendrick Lamar alone. But it's it's a lot of trauma bonding. I hope I answered all the questions that were asked towards me. But for me, this I don't think I'm going to listen to this album again. I don't want to, because I have a feeling every time I type this album, I have to go back to Auntie Diaries. And I love the way you've explained Auntie Diaries. Oh, the different mindsets that Kendrick is moving with. It's the same way Bambi explained it to me, the different mindsets that
Yes, DMB, you are right. You are right, Bana. We need we need to find a way to get Kendrick to Sanaa Kosa.
you'll be the one
You know,
talking to him. I hope he's not saying that so that I can talk to him. No. So that African can interview him. Mimi nitakuwa kwa bed held and I'll be warm
watch it.
doing some fagotry shit.
Babu utafanya hii video idropiwe yani on YouTube. Utaambiwa used as slur. You cannot, this video cannot be published.
Tell them it's a fagot who said it. Please. They should let it pass. Let it pass. It was said by a fagot, just let it pass. Yeah.
It seems allowed to edit this video and silence this, but look at this video.
Lord, that's why we have Sanaa Sana, so that we can say all the things we're not allowed to say elsewhere. Yeah. So
sure, all the time. And call out people.
Exactly. I hope that we get to have better analysis, that the people who can listen to this album, I've been really looking for analysis from different people who analyze it from different points of view. Because one thing that I keep saying, that thing, we even talked about Ty for Goofy's experience, right? Goofy's performance, Black Boy Joy. Because you see, when Ty interviewed Abe, or the thing they had, I believe dark humor can only be said by people who go through that lived experience. Right now, I can't make dark humor about being heterosexual or make dark humor about being a black man. I'll be speaking out of my ass, like I'll be saying things that are unverified. And that's what dark humor is based on. I'll make dark humor about being neurodivergent or being partially blind, like I am, and needing spectacles, or living in Kenya, right? But still, I can't make dark humor as a Kenyan. It's not my experience. I don't know. So when you make dark humor about things that are not your experience, it's not dark humor. It's bigotry. That's now bigotry. Like, it's not dark humor anymore. You're just being an asshole. And I hope we know that. I hope we work with that. Than this, that was just dark humor, or you guys can take a joke. No, we can't. We refuse to take jokes from you, because your jokes cause violence. And when your jokes cause violence, it's coming to us, not to you. With you, you get to perform our lives and then go back home and live your beautiful life that you still face violence of your own, but not the one that you've targeted on our backs. It's different. And artists too. If you want to talk about something you don't have an experience of, go sit with those people and incorporate them in your art. It's simple. It's not that hard. And there are artists who failed to do it, and it really caused some kind of backlash.
It's sad because artists are lazy.
Artists are very lazy people. I noticed that. Mostly word artists. Hey,
Artists are
hey,
lazy.
nyinyi. Bambi always says this thing, kufunua kidevu. Mi nataka kufunua videvu za word artists. I have a feeling I'm strong enough.
Because it takes time to create art, and most of us don't want to take that time
Yeah,
to create and be critical about what we are
we've
creating.
created. And we only want to be told we've created good stuff. This is even a conversation we once had here where Eb was asking if we're cool with being reviewed. With me, I'm cool with being reviewed. I've sat in places where someone has reviewed me. I'm cool with it. Like, review my work. The day I'm an asshole, I need you to tell me that shit. Tell me I'm an asshole. So that I can tell you I was intentionally being an asshole, or that was not what I intended. Actually, I was aiming for douchebag and I landed accidentally on assholery. Like, tell me. Don't let me go out there like just someone like I don't have a community. Tell me. And that's why I was saying I'm so sure. Like, the fans I'm sure of are 200. Yeah. Those are the ones I'm sure of, because those are the people I've interacted with in that kind of deepness. The rest, okay, I don't know.
You are very, very. Babu amedrop a lot of gems and information and us, and it's amazing that amekuwa able to join for this discussion. There is a lot that we have definitely discussed here. I think as we also get to closing this, I think that should be possibly a roundtable discussion on comedy, since I know your views on comedy and your views on dark humor.
More comedians should be clapped, high-fived in the face by someone stronger than Will Smith.
I know people who love comedy. Ningetaka kuwa na around a discussion juu najua kutakuwa na a lot of divergent opinions on this discussion ya comedy. I am very, very sure. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. Also, if you're watching this after the fact, na wewe ni fan wa dark humor, rusha hizo comments hapo chini. So I figured to mention Ida Hobbit, and perhaps someone watching this how aware is the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, na Biphobia, and it is tomorrow actually, learning Monday.
Yes,
it's tomorrow. 17th of May 2022. Again, as I've said, najua most of us who are not of the queer community, most of us are ignorant, most of us are bigots, hatuna information, and we mistreat people, we indignify people, we kill, we assault. We need to learn a lot of things. So I will insist and keep insisting, do the work, learn, and self-educate. It's a responsibility at anyone to educate you. And CRT also, if you identify an ally, CRT tunafaa kukupatia training. You know, you just You just need to be a good human being, bottom line. Importantly, continue doing the work and continue educating yourself. Nikimaliza, I'll share some views, some aspects of Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers here. A two-disc album with different sounds kwa the two parts. And the album generally ilinipatia feeling ya theme, a butterfly, ilinipatia pia feeling ya calm, especially on the second aspect when the trap instrumental and the live is about to end in 25 seconds, 24. I think the 4 hours is the limit. Shit. I'm
Today
really
we
not
got
because
to
we've
the
been here.
limit. Yeah.
Yeah, so this this will end and then tutakuja nimalizie. Babu, thank you so much.
Thank you.